Yeah. Welcome in. Happy Thursday to those who celebrate Big Rich, TD, and Fletch with you. And yeah, little breaking news yesterday. Pretty big breaking news if you've followed football over the past 20 to 25 years, as the Los Angeles Chargers have done something the franchise hasn't done in a very, very, very long time. They made an enormous financial commitment to a head coach, and they really got the biggest name on the board. Jim Harbaugh is the next Los Angeles Chargers head coach. And while, again, saying LA Chargers in this part of the world still stings, and it probably always will, if you are a Chargers fan or if you're a Chargers hater, depending on which side of the fence you sit on, this is either a great day or this is an awful day. TD, Fletch, first reactions when you got this news that Harbaugh was going to be in that seat for LA?
I think the first reaction is just, wow. I mean, wow, they actually did it. There's so many times the Chargers have said they were going to do something, or it felt like they were going to do something, and they just never could quite put the ink to paper. They never could quite land the plane or make it come together, and they did. So, I mean, I guess hats off to the Chargers. I'm a little irritated by it, to be quite honest. It does sting a little bit. And what's odd is I didn't think it would. I didn't think I cared, but turns out I still do.
Yeah, I'm going to do something I don't love to do, but give Jim Russell a lot of credit. On John and Jim yesterday, he was talking about the fact that it would have been nice if the Chargers would have made some sort of commitment like this when they were in San Diego. It just never really happened. I mean, other than, of course, bringing in Rich Hornberger on that massive contract.
Right.
But when the Chargers were in San Diego, like there were opportunities for them to go out and get the biggest, best name to be their head coach. It just never happened here. And so the fact that it's happening there, it stings is the right word, TD. And it did kind of give me a weird feeling yesterday also, because then you just remember, oh, well, I live right next to McGregor's, and that place would have been packed last night with people celebrating this hire. Instead, that's not the case. That's just not the case. But my second reaction after that was, holy crap, look at the AFC West and some of the coaches that are in it. And then, holy crap, look at Nick Saban and Bill Belichick and Jim Harbaugh all going to be in different places. It's going to be a weird look to coaching next year. Nick Saban probably on a lazy boy somewhere. Bill Belichick, who knows where. And then Jim Harbaugh wearing powder blue. It's a little uncomfortable.
Yeah. Saban might be on an armchair. Belichick may be on an armchair next to him. We'll get to that storyline because the Bill Belichick saga continues as he still hasn't found a seat as head coach. Musical chairs continues to unfold. And we'll address the coaching carousel later in the show too, because there's been some hires and not a lot of buzz, right? The buzziest hire has been the LA Chargers, which is so bizarre to put that sentence together, because after the Mike McCoy hiring and after the carousel spun again for them and the Chargers hired Anthony Lynn, and then the carousel buzzed again and they landed on Brandon Staley. Finally, the Chargers have done it. They've hired a guy, a name. I mean, they've had shots at Andy Reid. They've had shots at Bruce Arians. They've had shots at other big name coaches who in turn had success after they were hired elsewhere. This is the first time they really got the guy that everybody was coveting. So we spin this story forward and we start thinking about what this means for the Chargers. Well, I said it yesterday. I'll say it again today. What this means for the Chargers is they've hired a real culture builder and an expensive one. What this means is the Chargers have a real opportunity under a coach like Jim Harbaugh, who has developed quarterback talent in the past, to finally maximize the potential of their quarterback, Justin Herbert. He is a sensationally talented young guy, but he really hasn't had consistency. He hasn't had a true culture builder. It's kind of like learn as you go hirings around him. And it's just not really fair, especially when you look at Patrick Mahomes and the stability that he's had. When you look at Joe Burrow and the stability that he's had. When you look at the Buffalo Bills, it's been stable through the first 3 seasons. Josh Allen was in Buffalo. Dable obviously got his opportunity to be a head coach elsewhere, and there was an issue with Ken Dorsey getting fired this season, but he had stability while he was growing in this league. Herbert has already played for, this is going to be his 3rd offensive coordinator coming up here in the NFL. So finally, he's going to have some stability. It means a lot for the Chargers in terms of potential success.
It does mean a lot. I just look at this and go, I mean, are the Chargers now going to screw this up now that they have Jim Harbaugh? I guess it kind of feels like the same sort of buzz, and maybe I'm wrong because I don't remember it exactly correctly. But I mean, when Marty Schottenheimer became the Chargers head coach, that was a huge deal. And then Marty Schottenheimer, he went 13-3, I believe. They went to the AFC Championship game, but then they said, "All right, bye, thanks for your service." I again feel like the Chargers are going to blow this in some manner.
Well, I can see it. It would be the very Chargery thing to do, right? I mean, I mentioned yesterday when this was quote unquote close to happening that it is going to be pretty funny when you see Jim Harbaugh lead the Chargers to an excellent regular season. Maybe they win the AFC West. They get over the Chiefs hump. They get into the postseason potentially as the 1 season. They get knocked out in the divisional round. Like, that is a storyline I can easily see playing out. And by the way, a storyline that I would eat up personally.
Yeah. I just think that if look, I understand this story lands very differently in our corner of the United States compared to a lot of the other places in this country. I think a lot of other fans of the NFL who maybe have a vague recollection of what the Chargers did to San Diego might say to themselves, like in passing, "Oh, that's going to stink for them." But I don't think they're going to understand the impact it'll have on certain people. I think a lot of people have moved on from this, and I don't mean necessarily forgiven Dean Spanos. I think that would be the biggest minority, if it's kind of an oxymoron, but that would be a huge minority of people who actually have forgiven Dean Spanos. I don't think that's really something that people have done. I think a lot of people have become apathetic to the storyline. Like, I get it, and to your point, Fletch, I listened to the Jim Russell narrative that he was laying down. And yeah, I'm sure there are still some Chargers fans who are whining about this, who feel like jilted by the fact that they never made that sort of commitment at head coach when they were in San Diego. But at the same token, I think a lot of people have moved on and they've become more general NFL fans, or they've resided in the fact, look, I'm still going to follow the team. I don't love what they're doing. The fact that they're in LA makes absolutely disgusts me and makes my skin crawl. But when you think about what this means for players like Keenan Allen, right, who he started his career in 2013 with the San Diego Chargers before they moved to Los Angeles. As a teammate of mine, I'm rooting for that guy. I want to see Keenan Allen have success. I want to see him have playoff results the same way as regular season results have looked. And he hasn't been able to do that because he hasn't had a coach who's really been able to build around him. So there are parts of me that say, yeah, screw them for trying to get better finally when they've left San Diego. But there's a part of me that says, for some of those guys in the locker room who have been through the wars and who were a part of this community down here in San Diego, good for them. Maybe they'll get a bite at the apple.
And I've tried to make a commitment to, when talking about the Chargers, talk about them as if they're one of the other 32 NFL or 31 NFL teams. And so I'll do that here. And when I look at it from that scope, this is pretty exciting for the league, getting Jim Harbaugh back in the NFL, because he is a fantastic head coach. And when you look at the AFC West now, the coaching battles that we're going to get 2 times a year each.
Yep.
And you get the Antonio Pierce one, which that's the upstart with the Raiders. We'll see how that goes. But Sean Payton versus Jim Harbaugh twice a year. Andy Reid versus Jim Harbaugh twice a year. Those are all appointment viewings, and not because of the teams that they're coaching, but because of them, the legends of the game going against each other. All of them have huge accolades at multiple levels when it comes to Jim Harbaugh, but he got to the Super Bowl with the 49ers. And then you look at what Sean Payton and Andy Reid have done. Andy Reid has been dominant for the last 10 years, it feels like, whether it was with Alex Smith in the regular season or Patrick Mahomes in the postseason. We talk about Patrick Mahomes getting to 6 straight AFC championship games. So is Andy Reid. And now those two are going to be playing against each other twice a year. That's the part of this that kind of gets the NFL fan in me psyched up, is that the AFC West for the next 5 years is going to be awesome.
Yeah, but I do feel a little bit of trepidation, I guess is the word I'm looking for with that. Because literally 2 seasons ago, as we were heading into that season, I said, man, the AFC West, every single team is going to be above 500. This is going to be absolutely insane. And it was awful other than the Chiefs. And then now this past season, I thought, okay, maybe there's going to be some turnaround. Things are going to be great. It was pretty bad outside of the Chiefs. So here we go again. Now, does coaching changes, does that all of a sudden make this particular division conference unbelievably good? It seems like it should. It feels like it should. And I'm with you, Fletch. The NFL fan in me looks at this and goes, oh my gosh, this is going to be fantastic. All these matchups multiple times a year. Yes, bring it on. But I mean, I don't know. We'll see if that comes to fruition.
It makes me a little mad that Bill Belichick didn't take the Raiders job, or that the Raiders didn't seriously consider Bill Belichick. Because could you imagine those 4 all in the same division? But
Yeah.
Antonio Pierce, good luck.
That would have been bananas. And truly, yeah, what you just said about these 3 coaches teeing off against each other, and I'll throw Antonio Pierce in there. I was impressed with what he did down the stretch with the Raiders. As an interim head coach, it's not easy replacing anybody, even if it's a head coach who really, really stinks, because you're jumping in the middle of the test, right? You know, it's like, yeah, you were there, you were listening and paying attention in the back, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be able to get in the seat and do a great job. And I think he did a really great job setting the tone and motivating the Las Vegas Raiders to what ended up being a favorable finish to the season. Favorable enough that Max Crosby, one of their star defensive players, was literally threatening trade if they didn't rehire Antonio Pierce as the head guy. So it's going to be, on paper at least, a very interesting division. This is also interesting. The fact that former Michigan head coach, amid all the controversy and everything that's happened, gets hired with the LA Chargers, and his first hire is a man named Gunnar Scallions. That's awfully familiar. Where have I heard a name that sounds like that? And it's a gentleman. Yeah, wait a second. Do you guys think this is the same guy? Is this Connor Stallions just with a pseudonym? No, I'm kidding.
I mean, all he would have done was change 2 letters.
Can you imagine, though, if like Jim Harbaugh gets to the podium? Can you imagine this? Jim Harbaugh gets to the podium and he goes, listen, I am so pumped to be the next head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers. And with my first hire, I'm bringing in a man who was central to my success with the Michigan Wolverines. And then everybody's like, whoa, is Sharon Moore leaving Michigan too? Is he going to be his offensive coordinator in the league also? And he goes, Connor Stallions is going to be my head of advanced scouting in the NFL. And then all of a sudden he comes out wearing like a Central Michigan hat, the Chippewas, and people are like, oh my God, it's the same picture we saw from the sideline. He's like, all right, everybody, I'm off to Kansas City.
Before we get to halftime, and Rich, you're up first, so I don't know if you're ready for this, but you are up first for halftime.
They call me Red Panda because I'm always on a unicycle, just tossing plates on my head.
Y'all ready for this?
Did you guys see, Rich, you said the name Gunner, and that
felt good.
Just really made me think of something I saw late last night. Did you see what Gunner Rivers is doing?
Oh, yeah. He's
So
carving dudes up at St. Michael's, the high school down in Alabama that Phillip Rivers went back to coach at.
yeah, I mean, it's some stats. They don't mean much. They're high school stats, but he is a freshman All-American. 3,077 passing yards, 279 per game, 3,137 rushing yards, or total yards. Sorry, not rushing yards. 32 touchdowns, 4 picks. Phillip Rivers is the head coach. I mean, it's pretty incredible. And you watch the video, same arm angle as Phillip Rivers, which I don't know why you would ever teach that to somebody, but it's working.
Man, with a name like Gunner Rivers, what you should be carving up is logs with a chainsaw, doing chainsaw art. Come on, don't miss the boat here, buddy. Gunner Rivers. I feel like I would own a totem pole carved by Gunner Rivers.
You got it. I told him I was at a charitable event where a guy brought a tree stump and he turned it into a bear climbing a tree. Like he carved it with a chainsaw.
Buy it?
Yes, probably by Gunner Rivers.
The guy had a full-on mullet. He was smoking a cigarette the whole time.
Yeah.
He was wearing a pair of those douchers that Ben sometimes puts on.
1,000%. Sometimes. I think he's thrown away everything else.
Rich, how do you think Phil is as a coach?
Oh, dude, I bet you. So when he was a player, he was a coach. Like I guarantee he hasn't changed at all. When he played football, he spent the majority of his day teaching guys things that he knew. He loved it. He was an excellent person to go to if you had any questions. He was better than going to any of the coaches because really the offense ran through him anyways. So if you just saw it through his set of eyes, you had the jump on everybody. But yeah, he's going to be a fantastic coach at whatever level he decides to coach at. I'm pretty sure he's going to stick with it at the high school level. It's what he's always wanted to be. But if he ever wanted to be a college coach, if he ever wanted to get back into the NFL on that side of the ball, holding the whistle instead of throwing the football, he'd be excellent at it.
Somehow I don't think Phil would be great at the whole NIL conversations.
Oh, yeah.
Doggone it, this is dumb.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it probably wouldn't pass the purity test.
We don't know the details of the contract just yet. That's not coming out.
We know 5 years.
We know 5 years, but we don't know the money part of it. Other than the Chargers did have to pay Michigan a buyout of $1.5 million, which I actually thought they got pretty low on that.
That seems like a deal. I don't care as much about the money. I'm sure it's over $100 million, which is just wild to think about. I care more about what clauses are in there and what protections Jim Harbaugh has about whatever's going to come out with this whole Michigan thing.
Yeah. I mean, if the Chargers win a championship and all of these things come out right at that time, does anyone care who's a Charger fan?
Did you just say the Chargers win a championship?
I know. I was doing very much hypothetical. I'm just throwing it out there.
Those words don't flow.
It's true.
But you know what's so crazy about this hiring? I completely agree with the sentiment of what you just said. Like, it doesn't make sense. It sounds weird when you talk about the Chargers on paper winning a championship. Actually, that doesn't sound weird, but actually winning a championship, because that it feels like that promise is always made in the offseason and it never comes true. But when you have a real football coach, and we'll see what Jim Harbaugh looks like at this point and this run in the NFL, I mean, you've got a better chance than a lot of teams to actually do it. Yeah, as mentioned, Jim Harbaugh signs that 5-year contract with the Chargers. So another chair taken up in the coaching carousel. So for anybody who's keeping track of this, at least to our knowledge, there has been 4 coaches hired, still 4 coaches, coaching vacancies remain in the NFL. So the Patriots hired Gerard Mayo. The Chargers have Harbaugh now. We mentioned that the Las Vegas Raiders have hired Antonio Pierce. The Tennessee Titans have hired Brian Callahan, who wasn't considered like a hot candidate on the scene for coaching opportunities, but Brian Callahan, the former offensive coordinator with the Tennessee Titans, is the new head man in Tennessee, the former offensive coordinator with the Cincinnati Bengals is the head man in Tennessee. Now the Falcons seat the Panthers, the Seahawks and Commanders jobs are still open there. Quick update in the NBA. We have Lakers tonight. They're going to be taking on the Bulls. That's a 7:15 tip. We'll hear that right here on San Diego Sports 760. But what's interesting about that Falcons opening, guys, is Bill Belichick has been tied to that team for the better part of 2 weeks. And we don't really have much of an update outside the fact that it seems like teams are balking at the opportunity to work with Bill Belichick because of the paranoia that he exuded as a head coach during the end of his tenure in New England. How do you react to that storyline?
I mean, that seems bizarre, right? But now here's the thing. You were there with Belichick. I mean, you know the guy. You were in the room with him every single day. I guess almost every single day. But do you know Bill Belichick to have paranoia?
Let me explain what it was like to be a player in New England. And when I say this, if there is a single other New England Patriot player, former Bill Belichick player who's listening to this, they know exactly what I'm talking about. When you played for Bill Belichick, regardless of if you were on the roster for 10 years or you were a rookie and a high draft pick, you thought you were going to get cut. You were paranoid that you were going to be thrown out every single day. He created this environment where every single day felt so consequential that if you screwed up even at practice, all of a sudden you would be bumped down the list. And if you did enough things wrong, you felt like there was a possibility that they'd move on from you. And it was a really uncomfortable workplace environment. Now, did we have a tremendous amount of success? There's no question. Did that culture create an accountability that I never experienced in football up to that point or after? Absolutely. But was it a difficult place to work? It was the most difficult place to work. Now, if you look at it through the lens of the person who can create an environment that uncomfortable and that accountable, you have to imagine that he's doing that to himself too, right? Because you coach to your personality. And so it's possible that he himself has this feeling of paranoia inside of him. Like, I got to get better every single day. Otherwise, I'm going to get fired. So maybe that's the reason why this report is coming out.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it. I mean, it does seem like Belichick has that sort of personality to me. But, this paranoia of he wants to go to a city that is not a major market. So that way there's not the same level of media that is there, giving him the attention in his face every day. It did kind of feel that way, I guess, looking back at these press conferences of his, because my initial thought in the press conference was, yeah, I mean, he just doesn't want to do this. I mean, so he's irritated by it. And now I'm thinking, well, maybe he was just way uncomfortable with it. Maybe it was so far out of his comfort zone that that's why he gave these sort of short, seemingly rude answers at times, because he just didn't like it. But Atlanta is a pretty big media market. So that one doesn't make sense to me. So now I'm thinking Titans is where he goes.
Well, the
They
Titans hired
someone.
Brian Callahan.
Yeah, Sorry, you're right.
So
That I locked up. You're right.
Tennessee's off the table. I mean, you have the Seahawks, the Commanders, the Panthers. You know what I mean? Like,
I forgot that happened. Which got so buried here in Harbaugh.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Rich, can I ask you a true false?
What do you got?
Is Bill Belichick a weirdo?
I think
true or false, Belichick is a weirdo.
yeah. Boy, you know what? I think I'm a weirdo. I think you have to be weird to want to play football. Football is an ultra violent game.
So then would it make sense that to be the best, you got to be the weirdest a little bit?
There's part of that. I mean, okay, if you think about the coach that we just segued from to talk about Bill Belichick, Jim Harbaugh has admitted publicly that he wears one outfit every single day. The khaki pants and the polo shirt, that has been synonymous with it, like the whole look. Like if you open his closet, it's just like in like the cartoons where you see like SpongeBob SquarePants has the same thing on every single hanger. Like that's Jim Harbaugh. So I think you have to look at life a little bit differently to have success. You hear weird things about CEOs or founders of major tech companies. So yeah, I think to your point, you have to be a little bit off. You got to see the world a little bit differently. You got to go to your own drumbeat a little bit to have major success or long-standing major success in any industry that you work in.
Probably not something we're going to bring up on the show here, but Antonio Brown is tweeting about a few different NFL players right now and taking some pretty serious shots. If you're curious about what Antonio Brown is up to, head on over to his X account. None of it is very readable, I don't think, TD, especially not the hashtags.
No, I would say no. That's probably not where you want to go.
I hope that guy's okay.
But look, it's touching a nerve with Fletch is all. Okay.
Well, one of them, he's actually taking a shot at a former Aztec, which is also interesting. But
oh yeah, that's so interesting.
Rich, you said a phrase there where you got to look at life a little bit differently to be a head coach. Well, you got to look at life a little bit differently if you want to lose weight. And I think that's a fact. And the three of us have been through it. And SDFatLoss.com is who showed us how to do it. Wayne and Chloe, our weight loss team over there, they were the ones that kind of told us how to look at food a little bit differently. And I think it helped all three of us in different ways, but all three of us lost a ton of weight. So within the first 3 weeks, it's pretty shocking when you're stepping on the scale every single day and you look down and you just see, oh my God, I lost 2.5 pounds yesterday. And that was happening regularly for all three of us because SDFatLoss.com, they've cracked the code and they have the secret for quick weight loss, most importantly, lasting weight loss. I got down into the 230s while I was doing SDFatLoss.com, the reduction phase. I'm down in the 220s now and I feel fantastic. And with their time-tested methods, over literally tens of thousands of clients across the country, SD Fat Loss, they've broken the weight loss code, gone on those starvation diet plans, do away with the latest fads with their long list of side effects. I actually just read a story yesterday about some serious side effects from one of the injections. But in addition to guiding people through their successful weight loss, they also build clients a roadmap to keep the weight off long term. That's where we're at right now.
Was it saggy butt?
Yeah,
no,
pancake butt
yeah, it was
syndrome.
I've heard that too. This was like hospitalization.
But is that worse than saggy butt?
Yeah, I would argue saggy butt is one of the
Yeah.
worst things that anybody could experience.
So if you don't want a saggy butt, get on over to SDFatLoss.com. Talk with Wayne and Chloe today. It's a free consultation. You got nothing to lose except
those unwanted pounds.
Unwanted pounds.
You're so good at that.
All right, coming up next, should he have or shouldn't he have? That is the question, and we'll answer it on the other side. It just keeps happening in this one sport, and it happens nowhere else. We'll discuss. All right, so we're back, Big Rich, TD, and Fletch on a Thursday morning. A little bit of technical difficulties we're going to clear up here. If all of a sudden commercials start playing, that would be because we're typically in a commercial break at this time. But since we have some time to stretch our legs and air out this next topic, I want to first just read the opening line of this article I found from last night's Mavericks loss. Luka Doncic requested to have a heckler removed from the arena after being teased by a fan for a technical foul. Like, what is happening in the NBA?
They're soft.
Why?
They're all soft.
Wait, no, I mean, it's not that simple. It can't possibly be that simple.
Well, okay. I think it can be that simple, actually, because in the NFL, we've heard some of the most heinous things ever coming out of the crowd. That's what crowd is. That's what fans are. They're not always the best people. They're usually drunk and they're usually screaming things that shouldn't be screamed. But in the past, people just deal with it. And I promise you, the things that were being screamed in the Michael Jordan era were a lot worse than the things being screamed today, because you can legitimately get canceled and your life ruined for saying stuff today. But I think Luka Doncic is soft. I think the NBA is soft. I tried really hard to sit down and watch some NBA last night, Rich, and the amount of flopping and the lack of defense, and your defense literally is you flopping, is the most absurd sport. It is becoming worse than one-hand touch football. It is awful sitting down and trying to watch the NBA right now. Have you legitimately tried to sit down and watch a full game?
No, I haven't. Well, actually, no, I have. I would be lying if I didn't say I've watched the whole game. Yeah, I've watched a bunch of the Clippers games, not like maybe a handful. I've seen the Lakers a bunch of times as well. I tuned in for the entirety of what's his name? Ja Morant's game with the Grizzlies when he returned after the 25-game suspension he served this season with the Grizzlies when they faced the Pelicans in New Orleans. Like, there have been some games that like I've specifically tuned in for because I like the matchup. I like pro basketball still. I know NBA is probably falling further and further down the list for a lot of people for a lot of reasons. And I can understand this being one of the reasons why. Because let me explain how this all went down. Like, none of this is bad. The only thing that's really bad is the fact that Luka asked for this fan to be removed. So he gets a technical foul, okay? And he got a technical foul for requesting the heckler to be removed from the games. They lost, and it was a blowout in the second half to the Phoenix Suns. They were outscored 43-20 in the fourth quarter. And then all of a sudden, a fan who was wearing Booker jersey, a Devin Booker jersey, screamed out, "Hey, Luka, you look tired. Get your ass on a treadmill." So Doncic, who was at midcourt, he stared down the fan, and then he was trying to wave over a security guard during the game to get this fan removed for saying that. Now,
okay. I mean,
I just TD, like, I have a hard time with stuff like this. Look, I mean, I get it. Like, maybe in the NBA, and I've said this before, maybe the fans have too much access. Maybe having floor seats is probably something they shouldn't have. I don't think it's really safe for the fans. I don't think it's really safe for the players either. But at the same token, you've got to have thicker skin than that.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. I have not seen the video here. I see a still photo of it. But yeah, no, I agree. And tune it out, man. That's part of being a pro. But looking at this photo, it wasn't the woman, was it, that was yelling it?
No, it was some dude wearing the Booker jersey, the El Valle.
That would have been a mistake.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
It's just, yeah. And then Luka gets to the post-game press conference and they're like, "Hey, so what happened when you got that tech?" And he's like, "Look, that guy was cursing at me the whole half." It's just like,
come on.
I mean, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Now, this never happens in the NFL, and I think maybe it's partially because fans have an appropriate distance away from the sideline, so they don't really have that ability to interact. It happens occasionally in baseball. Usually it's with an outfielder interacting with a completely hammered fan in like the outfield bleachers. But outside of that, basketball's the only sport. Now, Fletch said, Fletch goes, "Well, it's because they're all soft." Is that where you're at, or is there a bigger issue here with basketball?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess it could go both ways. It does feel like this is pretty soft. However, I keep going back to, you're at pro level sports. This isn't I'm at the high school game and we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. This isn't Little League. This isn't Pop Warner. You are playing pro ball and people are paying a ticket to come watch you play. They're watching gladiators in the arena. I mean, especially watching football, but we're in an arena watching these pro players play. Get over it, man. Get over it. Go out there, and if you have a problem with it, shut them down by winning. Don't shut them down by throwing them out, because that's part of the fun. That is part of the fun, is being a fan. So I hate this. Give me a break.
All right, we're going to continue this conversation, but we need to finish up this commercial break, hopefully.
Is it working again?
So I'll stand by. I just reset everything.
All
We're
right,
going to play the last minute of this commercial break and then do an update. We'll be right back, but let's see if this works. Well, we got to do an update, so I'll do the update right now. Oh my God. Yeah, TD, give me some backup music. This update is presented by Lexus of El Cajon. We will start off in the NFL here. Chargers officially hiring Jim Harbaugh to be their next head coach on a 5-year deal. Harbaugh leaving Michigan after winning the national championship. He's going to get his second run as an NFL head coach. College hoops, Aztecs' next opponent, Colorado State, was ranked 24th in the country coming into their matchup with Nevada last night. They fall to the Wolfpack 77-64. Actually, 3 top 25 teams losing last night to unranked teams on the road. And over in the NBA, Portland beat the Rockets in overtime 137-131. Thank you. Warriors beat the Hawks 134-112, and the Suns beat the Mavericks 132-109. Experience true luxury at Lexus El Cajon. Get a great deal on any Lexus and see why they're ranked number 1 for customer service. LexusElCajon.com. Bring luxury home from Lexus El Cajon. Keep it going.
Oh, I screwed it up. I was trying to get Testify.
Oh my God, that's so funny. This is where I want to go with this conversation about Luka Doncic. Like, what could a fan possibly say to either of you to boil your blood enough that you want that fan thrown off the court? Like, would it be like, hey, TD, your neck, that thing is just, I couldn't even fit it through the rim. Like,
no, I know what it would be. Hey, yeah. TD, Home Depot sucks.
I'm coming after you, pal. Coming after you, pal. No, honestly, I have no idea. I mean, we are so self-deprecating that I don't even know what it could be. We just laugh.
It's pretty easy to poke me, I think.
To get you fired up?
Hey, Flex, Brock Purdy sucks at football.
Oh, I would be like, Iowa State, more like Iowa Steak. He's done, buddy. No, I don't know.
That didn't work. So
yeah, I'm sorry.
I like the effort, though.
Yeah. It felt better in my head. For me, it would probably be just attacking me for my arch supports.
Right,
just,
right.
You come after my friggin' arch supports. It's on like Donkey Kong. Speaking of your neck, though, TD, I don't know if that's necessarily related to DraftKings.
No, but I mean, sometimes you got to stick your neck out there if you want to, win some cash, huge cash prizes, and you can do that with DraftKings, the leader in fantasy sports. They just dropped a brand new fantasy app. It's called Pick Six. Pick Six is the newest way for you to get in on the fantasy football action with DraftKings. And getting started, it's easy. Just grab your phone, download the DraftKings Pick Six app, and sign up using code SD760. Now, look, it is fun to play. It's easy for everyone to get in on the action here because all you have to do is pick between 2 and 6 NFL players and then choose if they're going to have more or less of a particular stat. For example, will a player have more or less than 100 rushing yards? Or will a player have more than one touchdown? Or maybe, will Brock Purdy be sacked more than 10 times in this game? It could happen. It could happen, right, Fletch? No.
Huh?
What? Nothing. Never mind. Look, you can also track your lineup and compete against others for a shot at huge cash prizes. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and sign up with code SD760. That's code SD760 only on DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours. Approved local P6 states. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 18 plus in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. Eligibility restrictions apply. Valid only in states where DraftKings Pick 6 operates. For up-to-date list of states, please visit dkng.co/pick6states. Void where prohibited. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com.
Are you a business owner, CEO, or responsible for marketing? If you are, iHeartMedia can help you reach your goals and find new customers. We reach more consumers in your target area than anyone else, and we can give you access to those potential customers more cost-effectively across radio, digital, podcasting, and social. We'd love to show you how iHeartMedia can work for you. Get started today at iHeartAdvertising.com. That's iHeartAdvertising.com.
Experience better banking with SDCCU. Open a free checking with e-statements account and bank on the go. Check balances, deposit checks, pay bills, and more just about anywhere through your smartphone 24/7. Messages and data rates may apply. Visit SDCCU.com. That's SDCCU.com.
KTV and KTV FM HD2 San Diego. San Diego Sports. 760. America's finest sports station.
South 15 heavy through Temecula into Rainbow, and then Gopher Canyon to Deer Springs. Getting a little slow on the Summit, West 52, North 5 backing up out of Chula Vista from L off and on to National City. I'm Tori Peck, San Diego traffic.
For more information about contests on this station, go to sportssd.com/rules.
Big Rich, Keeney, and Fletch on a Thursday morning. Very much so looking forward to Friday morning. We have a Bar Cart Friday brought to you by Keg and Bottle. 10 locations around San Diego. Get yourself ready for the weekend over at Keg and Bottle. Also, we got a pair of tickets to see Bush at Cal Coast Credit Union Amphitheater Friday, September 13th show. LiveNation.com for more information, or just keep listening for your opportunity to win those tickets. We've got some injury updates. So as we get closer and closer to the weekend, it means we're closer and closer to these NFC, AFC championship games. The Ravens got banged up a little bit against the Houston Texans. And then you look at what happened with Brock Purdy and his gang over there with the San Francisco 49ers. There have been some issues too. Deebo Samuel, the most interesting storyline. Is he going to be ready to play against the Detroit Lions? It looks like he's trending in the right direction, Fletch, but I know you specifically are worried about this.
Yeah, I watched Kyle Shanahan's whole press conference yesterday, and it does feel like he's trying to put out there that it is horrible and horrific what happened to Deebo Samuel, and his shoulder hurts so badly. I think he's going to play, and I think he's going to be fine. I tend to trust Dr. David Chow a lot, and what he told us on Tuesday was that it's not the same injury that he sustained against the Browns, and that was the one that held him out for 2 weeks. That was the fracture in the shoulder. He said this one is more likely a muscle deal, which it's just going to be, he's going to get a shot of a little something special, nice little cocktail before the game, and he'll be able to go out there and be okay. And I would say, even if he is not Deebo Samuel, having Deebo Samuel on the field is enough to have a huge impact on the game.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if he's not at 100%, if he can just get out there, that's going to change the scheme of this thing and change the game dramatically. Because if you look at the regular season when Deebo was out, Niners didn't fare as well. I think they lost 3.
Look at the postseason.
In a
when
row.
Deebo was out, they didn't fare very well. Now, they won the game, and that was huge. But you look at the career of Deebo Samuel in Kyle Shanahan's offense, in games that Deebo Samuel plays in, specifically in games that Deebo and Trent Williams play in, they're pretty much unbeatable. When one of those guys is missing, their record drops to around 500. When both of those guys are missing, their record drops to well below 500.
I also wonder, is Kyle Shanahan doing a little bit of smoke and mirrors here and kind of throwing that out there? Right. So, I mean, it gets a lot harder to prepare for a game, right, Rich, when you don't know exactly who's going to be out on the field.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the reason why my entire tenure with the Patriots and every single season after that, Tom Brady was on the injury report every week for something, because you never really wanted to tip your hand all the way down so people could see your cards. And Bill Belichick was the master at stashing people on the injury report who definitely didn't necessarily belong there. But it's just harder to prepare for a team when you don't know who's hurt and who's not based on the information that's coming out of the organization. And everybody does this. Everybody plays with their injury report a little bit. Guys will be on and off of the report, and for a variety of different reasons, but especially because if there is any injury whatsoever and you're consistent with this, you can have teams second guessing themselves. Okay, so
he did not practice yesterday, by the way.
Right. That's the storyline with Deebo. And by the way, that means he didn't practice, but he still could have gotten side work on the field, right? So he could have been on the field at some part of the practice, but he did not practice or wasn't a full participant with the rest of the team. So there are kind of little clever ways that he could still get the work he needs to prepare himself for the game this weekend, while not necessarily practicing with his team.
By the way, little strange, and I don't know that I've ever seen this before. The 49ers TikTok account, like the official team TikTok account, is giving injury updates on players. Like with a social media intern, it's a woman, I don't know her name, but it's just a selfie video of her with a backdrop of the 49ers, like talking about Deebo Samuel's injury. And I had to do a double take and be like, oh, this is the Niners actual account.
Well, I mean, we're all looking for clicks, man.
I guess.
Yeah. So, maybe just a different tack they're taking. Who knows? Does it bother you as a Niners fan that's happening?
I thought it was a little odd.
I'll tell you.
It wasn't just a clip of what Kyle Shanahan said. It was a clip of a social media intern going on about it.
I'll tell you why you shouldn't really be dismayed by it, because I can promise you if it's an in-house reporter or writer for the team, there is no way she's going off like half-cocked here and reporting things she shouldn't. Like, she's taking essentially the exact same verbiage, the exact same thing that the public relations department have prepared for head coach Kyle Shanahan, and she's taking it and she's just doing a social media video. You know what I mean? So it's not going to be anything different. You would hear from what you would hear from the podium. Essentially, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's written for her. I mean,
Probably by John Lynch.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I'm sure there's a PR team that puts together exactly what they want to go out to the media. So she's the face of it on TikTok, and she's young and she's pretty and it's fun and she knows TikTok. I mean, we get that here in the building.
We're young and pretty, and we
exactly. You guys are so good looking. We want you on TikTok, and we're like, oh my gosh, okay.
It's constant.
Yeah.
It's like nauseating, but we do what we can. So that's the Niners situation. The update with Debo. How about the Ravens? They could get Mark Andrews back, the tight end who had surgery back in late November. And we remember the whole thing. I believe it was Cincinnati, the hip drop tackle. It took him out. It looked like a bad break or a bad sprain. He gets that surgery. He could be back for this game against the Kansas City Chiefs. Him and Marlon Humphrey, the safety who went out week 17 for the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens still playing some decent defense, but Humphrey coming back into the defensive lineup is a coup, especially when you think about the Kansas City Chiefs, who offensively it started to come together at the end of the season and into the postseason. But there were issues with this offense, especially with drops from their receivers. If you have Humphrey back on the back end of this Ravens team, especially playing a home game in Baltimore, especially with Mark Andrews back on the offensive side of the ball, especially with the fact that Likely in his stead has been playing great football at the tight end position, the Ravens just become way more multiple.
But it won't matter because the NFL put the referee in that game who is great for away teams.
Right.
And
true.
Kansas City's away in that one. So everything is rigged. Kansas City's going to win because of and only because of the refs, not because they have the best quarterback on the planet on their team.
No, it's the refs and the fact that the NFL wants to show Taylor Swift at the Super Bowl. I mean, of course, we all know that.
Yeah. I mean, I just thought it was so strange that they spent so much time on the broadcast during that Kansas City Buffalo game on her feet. And what I noticed is she was wearing the Good Feet Star arch supports. I couldn't believe it, guys.
Man, you could tell just by looking at those high heel shoes that you're like, yep, there's definitely an arch support in there. And that's from the Good Feet.
Yeah,
definitely.
I mean, I just I laser focus, and I was just like, those are the strengtheners. Yes, those are the strengtheners she's wearing. No, I have no idea if Taylor Swift wears Good Feet arch supports, but she should. She should. Everybody should. Everybody should especially if you're experiencing back pain, knee pain, hip pain, foot or ankle pain, any lower body joint pain. It is essential to at least take a visit over the Good Feet store. They have a try before you buy experience, a free fitting, a free test walk. And the reason why I trumpet the results and the success that I've had with the Good Feet store is because I really thought I was going in for another surgery, whether it be my back or my hip was really bothering me at a time. I thought I was going in for another surgery, and I canceled an MRI as a result of all of the great results I've had. It's interesting. I didn't realize that something you slip into your footwear. And frankly, if you wear the same shoes every day, you don't have to switch them out. They're just sitting in your shoes. You slide your feet into your shoes, and all of a sudden you're standing in the correct posture. So whether you're working on your feet all day long, you're planning on going for a bunch of long walks or hikes, or taking the kids to a theme park, playing golf with your buddies, or if you're just somebody who struggles with lower body joint pain and you're looking for relief, go to the Good Feet store. These arch supports have been game changers, life changers for me. Check them out at goodfeet.com. They've got 200 plus locations around the U.S. and overseas. They are built right here in Carlsbad, California. So you're supporting local when you buy arch supports from the Good Feet store. That's goodfeet.com.
This update is presented by Lexus Carlsbad. Experience auto enjoyment. It's hour 2 on Big Rich, TD, and Fletch, and we will begin in the NFL. Chargers officially hiring Jim Harbaugh to be their next head coach. It's a 5-year deal. Harbaugh leaving Michigan after winning the national championship. He's going to get his second run as an NFL head coach. College hoops, 3 teams in the top 25 losing last night. So come Monday, even though the Aztecs get a bye weekend, they may be back in the top 25 based on other teams losing. Over in the NBA, Portland beat Houston in overtime, 137-131. Warriors took down the Hawks, 134-112. And the Suns beat the Mavericks, 132-109. Now through January 31st at Lexus Carlsbad, save on the new Lexus RX, ES, and NX models with Lexus Lease Cash, or save low with APR financing on approved credit. Details at LexusCarlsbad.com. Experience auto enjoyment today at Lexus Carlsbad.
Yeah. Welcome in and happy Thursday to those who celebrate. Big Rich,
Softer than Luka Doncic.
I know. So it's Doncic soft.
What?
That's the worst kind, I hear.
Is anyone awake at your location?
Oh, no.
Oh,
no,
wow.
actually, somebody was, it's so funny when you are broadcasting, which, by the way, we didn't even mention it earlier, but I'm up in LA today. Ben and Travis, TD and Fletch, they're down in the San Diego studio. I'm just visiting with my in-laws. I'm in their house, and I'm in a spare room, and I have a view of the driveway. And it was during the conversation we were having about how Luka Doncic wanted a fan removed because he was mean to him. There was a moment where headlights went on in the driveway, and you get so lost in your conversations that you forget you're actually at somebody else's house. So I'm just thinking about how ridiculous the conversation must have sounded as whoever it was walking out to their car. And I'm just going, yeah. And I mean, like, he's like, so he says, Doncic, maybe you ought to make a basket and get back on the treadmill. And then he was all like, nah, you're out of here, buddy. And like, I'm sure my family members think like this is what he gets paid to do. Really?
Look, honestly, saying get back on the treadmill, does that strike a nerve so deep that you're like, this guy is out?
Well, Luka's physicality, his physical fitness has been questioned throughout his career.
I feel like he must have been like many people, like we were before we found SD fat loss, like he's a reformed fat kid, so he probably somewhere trapped deep inside of his mind is like, yeah, well, that's what they said to me when I was eating my 3rd peanut butter and fluffernutter sandwich. And that was mean. It's like second grade flashbacks.
Boys ever had a fluffernutter?
Yeah, I made one for Next Level Fat Guy stuff.
That's so good.
Yeah, that worked well. I made it like a grilled cheese, though.
Yeah, you did.
Whew.
Yeah.
You know
You're
what?
damn right
Looking
you
back,
did.
I wish I had one of those, those like panini makers that like pinches the side close.
Yeah, the little cast iron ones. You could actually throw them in a like wood fire.
Yes.
Jesus.
Like old timey Hawkeye. Yes.
Oh,
We
TikTok,
should
that guy with the dog.
Yeah.
Great mustache.
Yeah.
He does have a
Really
good
great mustache.
You know who doesn't have a mustache? No mustache in sight. Jim Harbaugh.
Dumb move.
Absolutely clean shaven.
Dumb move.
Dumb move. He's got a face that could handle a mustache. Like, it's a lip that's just dying for a little fur.
And now,
that's
Rich,
what I think.
We did get a
Push
question
broom.
from listener Ron that says, have you guys heard anything about assistant coaches for Harbaugh? And I think there is a really funny story coming out of the Harbaugh hirings, and it's last name Stallions.
Yeah, he's actually hiring a guy that goes by the name of Gunnar Scallions. It's not Connor Stallions. It's definitely not the same guy who was on the sidelines, advanced scouting for him at Michigan. Totally different dude. They look similar, oddly. It's so strange. But yeah, so Gunnar Scallions is going to be a part of the LA Chargers coaching staff. There's no picture available on the website. And also, oddly, he's currently in Baltimore, and they say that he has a video camera trained on the Kansas City sideline. And he's there way ahead of this game to be played this weekend, guys.
God.
So a little strange, but yeah, at first rattle out of the box, that's the breaking news we have for us in terms of his coaching staff.
Rich Fletch, if this was the case, this would be the best thing ever to happen in the NFL. I'm sorry. It would be hilarious.
Like if they were to bring in a guy who got Jim Harbaugh in a ton of trouble and changed his name just enough to where it puts up question marks, but then it's the same dude.
Change his name, give him a wig, give him those glasses. Like, and everywhere he goes, he looks different. Every time he goes somewhere. Gunners, scallions.
Jesus. What's so funny about that whole story, and I mean, I guess it's not funny because for people who fierce rivals over at Ohio State, Buckeyes fans, or I'm sure national championship hopefuls with the Washington Huskies or Alabama in the semifinals. Like, I'm sure there are people who are really disturbed by the fact that Michigan could have or did cheat during their rise to success in college football. But it is so funny how that story went in some ways, because you start hearing this name, Connor Stallions, which sounds like a porn name, first of all. And then all of a sudden, the one picture that really circulates is him wearing the ball cap on the Central Michigan sideline and the mustache and everything, looking like a porn star, like an incognito. Like, it was just like, yeah, so that's the guy. And he decided to take a quick reprieve from working with the Michigan football program, and he only earned a $50,000 salary. So no problem, all taken care of. He resigned, moving on, and the story kind of went away for Michigan, and they went on to win a national championship. But now Jim Harbaugh sets that all aside, and he's going to be the next LA Chargers head coach. That was the breaking news yesterday. We talked about it to start the show this morning. And really, I think overall, everybody thinks of it as a success. Is there any way you guys could see this going all wrong for the Chargers?
Yeah, I mean, of course you could see it going all wrong for the Chargers. And some of that is because when you look back at Harbaugh's time in the NFL, started out pretty good and then tapered off quickly. And then he went back to college and he was a superstar again. So could it go south? Of course. Does it feel like it will? No. Not at all to me. It feels like it's going to work very well. I think Jim Harbaugh's a fantastic coach. I think he's a fantastic culture builder. That's something the Chargers have. I don't know if they've ever had. I mean, you played in the Chargers organization, Rich. Did they have that culture of Chargers football?
No, I didn't feel like there was an identity that we were living up to. Like, I definitely felt that in New England. Like, there was an identity of accountability. Like, the chant inside the building that became very public toward the end of the Belichick era was, do your job. If everybody does their job, we're going to have success. The Raiders, they have an identity that I think all teams have to live up to. Al Davis instituted that tough guy mentality in the silver and black. And so I think there are certain franchises that carry with them a weight. Like, there's almost like a gravity that the name of the organization creates. And then there's a lot of teams that really don't have that same identity. Like, I mean, can you really peg the Jacksonville Jaguars as having like a major identity in the NFL?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, the Chargers very much so feel similarly. Like, I think they've been searching. I think for years now, decades, the Chargers have been searching for that identity. And maybe it has always been, kind of great quarterback play and unfortunate results, but that's not one that you want to live with. Jim Harbaugh can institute a change in that way, and I would imagine that's the reason why Dean Spanos and the Chargers hired him.
So, Rich, TD, I think that Colin Cowherd, who's on every day after us, 9 to noon on San Diego Sports 760, has always said this, and it's head coach, quarterback, and ownership group. And you need to have all three of those to be a continually successful team in the NFL. And if you want to win a Super Bowl, that is the most likely way to get it done. Head coach, quarterback, ownership group. Those three things need to be in place, and they all need to be good. I think the Chargers have done a really good job to hem out two of the three of those things. The quarterback is a stud. The head coach now is a very good one. The ownership group will always and forever, as long as the name Spanos is attached to it, be dysfunctional. And I think that the Spanos curse is real. I think that it's a thing that is going to affect this team forever until he sells it. And I just don't see this ever coming out positive for the Chargers as long as that person is in place there at the helm of the organization, because he has shown over year after year after year that he is kind of the dustpan of the NFL. Like, people will sweep him wherever they want to go, and he just says yes sir, no sir, because that's what he has to do, because he is one of the poorer owners, and I think he's a little bit spineless. So I don't know what happens with the Chargers moving forward. I just know one of the key components to having a winning organization in there is not there. Sorry.
It's hard to match up the words poorer owners. I mean, look, he's got money.
He's rich, but he's not NFL rich.
Yeah, I guess everything's a matter of perspective. Like, when you look at him compared to Stan Kroenke, TD, like, Kroenke built the SoFi Stadium and he made a $6 billion investment. Dean Spanos, when he was in San Diego, I mean, we were talking about hundreds of millions of dollars that needed to be spent on the stadium in Mission Valley, and he refused to do it. He wanted the city to pay for the entirety of the project because it was a co-owned venture between he and the city. So,
yeah.
I mean, I guess, look, the comparison is fair, but the reality is I think we have to give credit where credit's due for now. I don't like what this family did to the city of San Diego. I don't like that the Chargers are in Los Angeles. But if I was being objective and I was thinking to myself, okay, you got the quarterback, you have a franchise guy in Justin Herbert, I like the decision to bring in Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah. No, I agree. And if you're just joining us, or maybe you're just tuning in here on the free iHeartRadio app, that it is, like I said, free to download. Put it on your phone, any device you have. Put us right in your pocket. Take Big Rich, TD, and Fletch with you on the go. But if you're just joining us, if you haven't heard, Jim Harbaugh leaving the national champion Michigan Wolverines to coach the Los Angeles Chargers. No details yet on how much this is going to cost the Chargers or how much he'll make there as a Charger head coach. We do know that it is 5 years. We do know that there is a buyout that's happened from the Chargers to the Michigan Wolverines for just a bargain price of $1.5 million. I'm sure Harbaugh had something to do with whittling down that cost, but did that shock any of you guys?
Yeah, it definitely shocked me a little bit. Well, actually, it shocked me a lot. That's the biggest thing about this. The biggest friction point was, will the Chargers pony up? And they did. And they haven't in the past. They have done this now 3 separate times with head coaching vacancies, where 3 separate times they had an opportunity. They had interviews with the leading candidates, but they didn't want to spend the money, and that felt very clear. But this time it's completely different. So the most shocking part of this story is the financial commitment it took to steal Harbaugh away from the Wolverines, and also the contract that I'm sure that they have hammered out with him this offseason.
It's probably around 125. I think that was the number that was floating around there. 5-year 125. That unfortunately for the Chargers, that makes sense. So I just did some quick digging. Dean Spanos, the Spanos family, is worth around $2.4 billion, which, again, that's a lot of money. But it's not close to some of these NFL owners. For example, the group that just took over the Denver Broncos, the Walton family group, they're worth north of $39 billion. Jerry Jones is worth north of $15 billion. So you look around the NFL and you look at what the Chargers have in Dean Spanos, you're talking there are owners with tens of billions of dollars more than him. And so there are owners that have that much more flexibility, where the Jim Harbaugh signing would have been a drop in the bucket. And where you go to the credit where credit is due argument, you have to, because he did pony up to get Jim Harbaugh there and to make the splashy hire and to, in his eyes, make it to where the Chargers will be real legit contenders up there in LA. It still feels yucky to me. It feels gross. And did nobody tell Jim Harbaugh that LA kind of sucks? Just all the way down the list. I don't see this ever turning out as fruitfully as the hope is for Chargers fans and Chargers ownership.
Look, if you're in the give credit where credit's due camp, I mean, it was days of us saying, yeah, there's reports of Jim Harbaugh possibly talking to the Chargers. I mean,
didn't think it would ever happen.
We all said it. It's not going to happen. And then at one point I said, well, I don't know. I guess if I was to give a percentage at this point, this was just a few days ago. I'm like 20% maybe. The following day, there was more news. I don't know, 22% I'm where I'm at. And then all of a sudden, boom, Jim Harbaugh is now the head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers. And the Los Angeles Chargers, honestly, all of a sudden, in my eyes, as I'm thinking, will this work? Brandon Staley goes away, Jim Harbaugh comes in, and you go, well, hold on. Now the Chargers, I mean, all of a sudden are players.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about what has been synonymous with the Chargers. And we got our morning monologues here coming up in just a minute. We got Bush tickets coming up later in the show. And we're going to get back to the coaching carousel, the wider view at the NFL here in just a few minutes as well. But to wrap this up, I mean, if you really think about what the Chargers deficits have been over the years, losing close games, bad decision-making in the fourth quarter. Like those two things, losing close games, bad usage of timeouts, bad clock management in the fourth quarter. If you have those two problems, who do you turn to with the blame? It's always the head coach. Yeah, I guess sometimes you can blame it on the quarterback. You know, it's a close game. It's a 3-point game. You throw an interception, something like that. The defense gives up a red zone touchdown or, you know, a long throw late in the game. Sure, there are times where, you know, things happen. It's football. But when it comes down to those moments that matter the most, they always had a coach walking the sideline who's getting broken in on the job, who didn't have much experience as a head coach over the past 15 to 20 years. Now they bring in a veteran, savvy coach who's had success at this level, who's had a national championship most recently just last season and was the hottest name on the block in terms of the coaching search. And he's going to be coaching with a huge upside, high potential quarterback like Justin Herbert. This is objectively a home run for the Chargers. It just sickens a lot of people in San Diego because they wish it was happening for us here in this city. Yeah, you're darn right it is. TD, we love your monologues.
Yeah.
And we never know where they're going to go. Hit us with your best shot, buddy.
Well, this one is going to go on the same line that we've been talking here almost all morning long, because I wasn't prepared to feel the way I feel here. In fact, as we were talking about Harbaugh to the Chargers, I was pretty indifferent by it. I thought, yeah, it'd be cool. I mean, yeah, whatever. I guess if he came back to the NFL, that's good for the NFL. That's good for NFL fans. But when I got the word that it happened and it started to sink in, I got to tell you, it feels a lot like our now ex-wife who left us 7 years ago is doing so great with her new rich husband and new perfect family. Meanwhile, I'm over here struggling at the scrapyard. And just when I thought things were going great with my new love for another team, my go-to buddy who was helping me pick up my life and, I don't know, dust the dirt off, he passes away. And now the new group in charge just ripped any hope of me getting that promotion so I won't have to work under that crappy boss who runs the show up in Los Angeles is taking over. I'm beside myself. Look, Dean, we got tennis players keying cars of pickleballers. We got hurricanes. We got floods. We got state of emergencies. You left us in shambles, buddy. And now we're putting the pieces back together. Just as we're doing that, you do this, Dean Spanos. It doesn't matter what you're doing up in L.A. You will always be San Diego's Harbaugh black sheep.
Wow.
Done. Also,
yeah.
How come some mornings Q-tips just go right into the ear canal? Like it's just wide open. There's nothing holding it back.
Is that's the new thing, but you're not supposed to use Q-tips.
Yeah, you're not supposed to put them down in your ear, but I mean, I do.
It's on all over TikTok now. There's this new thing you're supposed to use for your ears, and it has a little micro camera so you can see on the phone that
they want you to buy that.
But it's not that expensive. I'm almost got me. I'm ready to buy one.
Okay. No, I'm gonna buy one. I mean, I've been seeing those ads for too long, and it's really it seems like so much fun. Yeah, but they do say Q-tips are dangerous.
I would use that camera like in a lot of places. That's all I'm saying.
No one wants to see that video.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Okay, so since TD's stuck with the Chargers and Dean Spanos and Jim Harbaugh, I'm gonna pivot off mine because that was gonna be something similar to what I was gonna do, but you nailed it. You knocked it out of the park.
Thank you.
Here's what I'm gonna do. House to Yourself was on the best bracket ever, and I stand by that. And it was a strong seed, and it deserved to go farther than it went, right? Here's why that's wrong.
Okay.
House to Yourself is really fun until it isn't, because the last 2 days, and I don't know how things go in your guys' house, but I do a lot of the cooking for the Kendall and me, and I usually try to make healthy dinners, especially once we got to stfatloss.com. You know, it's a lot of chicken, it's a lot of veggies, it's a lot of whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
I have been lost not having to cook for somebody. And I've realized the last 2 nights that I just don't eat. when there's nobody there for me to cook for, I just don't. I skip dinner. I was watching college basketball last night. It got to about 8:30 at night, and I was like, have I had anything since I don't know, donuts with the DJs in the morning? I hadn't, and so I just went to bed hungry, and now I wake up and I'm starving once again, ready to make some bad decisions at a drive-through, and that's not good for me. So I think we need to cohabitate. And I think we need to cohabitate for the responsibility that we owe to our owner or to our cohabitator. I mean, owner works too. But I think it's the responsibility to help others that makes us function as humans. And I think not cohabitating with anybody has led me into a health spiral.
Yeah,
I picture Fletch and Brock the dog like waiting at the door, both wiggling their butts for Kendall to come home. Just like looking at each other like, dude, I thought I heard something. Do you think that was her? I heard a car door. Oh, we better just sit here on the doormat.
Also, knowing my beautiful wife, Kendall, she's going to get home from Florida like 10 minutes before the 49ers game kicks off and then have a list a mile long of things for me to do.
I'm going to spend my morning monologue talking about just head coaches in general, because like I said, we're going to get back to this coaching carousel in a moment and talk about some of these hires being named. But speaking generally, not specifically, we look at head coaches as major solutions for teams, right? We look at it so differently than we do quarterbacks. Quarterbacks and head coaches have a lot in common. I think they inspire a great deal of hope for franchises and fan bases, but you never know what's going to happen because every locker room has its own attitude, its own personality. Coaches who look great at one program oftentimes struggle at another. Now, intelligence and savvy and experience on the job and all those things matter. And I do think it's a little bit easier for a coach to institute a culture of success and building a roster for successful purposes than it is for a quarterback to walk into a complete disaster and try to change things around him. But still, this is a crapshoot. Like, how many coaching hires happen and hope springs eternal inside the fan base, and all of a sudden, all of that hope is crumbled within the first season?
Josh McDaniels twice.
All the time. Yeah, perfect example. Frank Reich with the Carolina Panthers. They had the first overall draft pick. They fired him before week 10, or might have been right on the nose. So my point is this. I say with great caution, get excited, sure. And I'm not trying to throw water on anybody's celebration with a head coach hiring, but holy cow, the same way we talk about quarterbacks in this league, fit matters. Culture and organization matter. And so even with Jim Harbaugh signing with the Chargers, and as good as it may sound on the outside looking in, I'm very curious to see how this actually goes.
And I'm seriously concerned about their roster, Rich. You look at some of the mainstays of this team. You mentioned Keenan Allen a little earlier. Keenan's not getting any younger, and he was often hurt this season. Austin Eckler really was not Austin Eckler at all this entire season after week 1. Joey Bosa hurt again to end the season. You look at the most expensive defense in the NFL, which I believe they were this past season. They struggled big time. There are serious roster concerns, but they got the one thing, and that's the quarterback. And I think we all have a lot of faith in Harbaugh.
Well, I'll tell you what, the Chargers, they got probably about, I want to say 210 pounds lighter when they fired Brandon Staley.
Right.
And that sounds really similar to something that happened around here. Travis Dale, TD, he's about 210 pounds lighter. Thanks to SC fat loss.
That's right. 210 or like 30. I mean, somewhere between there. But look, 30 pounds is nothing to scoff at here, boys. 30 pounds. That's incredible to me. What's more incredible is I lost it in 2 months. And then, I mean, you lost even more than that, Rich, in 2 months' time. And Fletch, you said you're down in the 220s now. You're pushing 50 pounds lost with SD fat loss. Look, they're not only going to show you how to lose weight fast, they're going to show you how to do it the healthy way and then keep the weight off, because that's what is the important thing here. You want to keep that weight off. You don't want to lose a bunch of weight and then bring it all right back, because you're probably going to bring that back and then some. And they call that yo-yo dieting. Turns out you want to stay away from that. Done that several times, Rich. Done that several times, Fletch, with these fat diets. I've done the shakes. I've counted calories.
We know. Yeah. We watched it all.
Listen, I've asked for the medication VAT diets. I was told no, don't do that. Wayne, Chloe over at SD Fat Loss, they were like, "Are you insane, man? Those are appetite suppressants. So all you're going to do is you're going to get a doctor to prescribe this to you. You'll probably lose weight, but then you'll gain back all of that as soon as you stop taking it. So don't do that. Stay away from that. Listen to us. We will show you how to lose weight quickly." And they did. And I couldn't be more thankful. I feel better. I sleep better. I'm happier. I can move around better. The aches and pains go away. I mean, just everything is better. And I feel great because I feel like I'm doing something good for my family here. I'm adding some years onto the life, and we want you to do the same thing. So go to sdfatloss.com right now. Sign up. The consultation is absolutely free. So you'll get to talk with Wayne and Chloe, and they will show you exactly how to make this thing work and exactly how to make it work best for your lifestyle. And you're going to do it while eating the food you like to eat, and you don't have to exercise. You had me at that. sdfatloss.com. It's sdfatloss.com.
All right, the full list of the NFL coaching hires. Who's been hired? Which teams are still searching? That's next.
This update is presented by Lexus Carlsbad Experience Auto Enjoyment. We'll begin here in the NFL. Chargers officially hiring Jim Harbaugh to be their next head coach. It's a 5-year deal. Harbaugh leaving Michigan after winning the national championship. He's going to get his second run as an NFL head coach. College hoops, 3 teams in the top 25 losing last night, meaning the Aztecs, who are actually on a bye this weekend, they won't play again until next Tuesday, could be back in the top 25 come Monday. Over in the NBA, Portland beat the Rockets in overtime 137-131. Warriors took down the Hawks 134-112, and the Suns beat the Mavericks 132-109. Now through January 31st at Lexus Carlsbad, save on the new Lexus RX, ES, and NX models with Lexus Lease Cash, or save with low APR financing on approved credit. Details at LexusCarlsbad.com. Experience auto enjoyment today at Lexus Carlsbad.
Rolling through a Thursday, Big Rich TD and Fletch, San Diego Sports 760, and we still have a pair of tickets for you to go see Bush at the Calcoast Credit Union Amphitheater. Friday, September 13th, livenation.com for tickets and info, or just keep listening here for your chance to win. That will be coming up shortly. Meanwhile, we have been going through it, man. The story of the day, Jim Harbaugh leaving Michigan to become the Chargers head coach, and there's been a bit of a coaching carousel around the NFL, and man, oh man, let's break it down, boys. Which one of these makes the most sense to you?
Well, I mean, you look at it so far, the Patriots have hired Gerard Mayo. The Chargers have hired Jim Harbaugh, as we've been discussing. Antonio Pierce retains the title of head coach after filling him as an interim when Josh McDaniels got fired in Las Vegas. The Titans have hired Bengals OC Brian Callahan. Of those 4 coaches, the one that makes the absolute most sense so far is Antonio Pierce returning. That felt like a complete no-brainer. That locker room loved Antonio Pierce. You've already seen what he can do as a head coach with the organization. Now, I realize it was in an interim fashion, but also we've seen interim head coaches, especially former players, recently flame out. Just go see the Indianapolis Colts after the Frank Reich firing. What happened with their
Jeff
old
Saturday?
center there, Jeff Saturday.
That was fun.
Was a disaster.
That was fun.
That was so much fun.
That was
Remember the
so
first game
great.
he beat the Raiders?
Yeah. Oh, it's so funny. Yeah, we were just talking about the Raiders with Antonio Pierce. They beat the Raiders, and it was the Josh McDaniels Raiders. It was bonkers. But anyways, yeah, getting back to the point, I think that one for me is the best fit, is Las Vegas rehiring Antonio Pierce to be their head coach.
Call me crazy. I think wherever Ben Johnson lands, that's the best fit. I think what he's done with the Detroit Lions this year is nothing short of spectacular. He's got pieces, but he doesn't have the best pieces when you look around the league. Like, he's doing this with Jared Goff, and everything is very creative in that system. I just see if he lands with, say, the Falcons, if the Belichick thing has legs and the Falcons front office doesn't like the fact that they want to hire Bill Belichick, but the owner does, like, say Ben Johnson lands there, who he has had a couple interviews with them. I just think that works so well with the young offensive team that they have, getting the young offensive coordinator who's extremely creative, doing things that are a little bit differently. You remember in this last game, who did the Lions just beat? The Bucs. They had a play set up from the get-go. I believe it was the first play they ran from scrimmage was a fake to Sam Laporta, and then he was the one who ended up catching it down the way. They ran that same play a little bit later on, and then Brock Wright, who's caught like 2 passes all year, leaks out the same way Laporta did, but it was a different look. Everything he does that's creative works so well, and I think wherever he lands, Ben Johnson, that is going to be the best fit.
You know what's funny is as we're rolling through these, we're all picking somebody different, and we're all picking not Jim Harbaugh in the
Chargers.
One that makes the most sense here. Now, also, Rich, when you say Pierce to the Raiders, or that one makes the most sense, my heart says that one makes the most sense to me. That's the one I like. However, my head goes to New England. Gerard Mayo and the Patriots felt like this was set up a year plus ago. The Kraft family was already putting these pieces together, and you said yourself, I mean, you called him Belichick Jr. out there. This guy knows the system. He knows how to break down plays. He spends tons of time breaking down tape and scheming. This is a great fit for New England, and a big plus for them.
Yeah, we called him Little Belichick when he was a teammate of mine, and he hated it. Gerard was not a fan of that name. But they spent a lot of time together, and it really did feel like they saw the game through the same set of eyes. Now, that obviously it can be a gift and it can be a curse because New England is moving on from Bill Belichick, and you're bringing in a coach who the only coach he's ever played for is Bill Belichick. The only coach he ever worked for is Bill Belichick. So how different are things going to look? I don't know. Maybe this was relationship differences between Bill Belichick and Kraft, and he felt like they needed a change. All right, there are still 4 jobs left, though. So the Falcons, the Panthers, the Seahawks, and the Commanders have yet to sign their next head coach. TD, you're Mr. Fix-It. I mean, you're currently building a console and a fireplace in your home. What coach can be hired to any of these teams that you think would resemble a fix to the current situation they have going on? There's plenty of candidates available. I mean, you know, you have Mike Vrabel, you have Pete Carroll, there's other coaches. Fletch just mentioned Ben Johnson. So there are other coaches available. Is there a team or teams that would be a fit for one of these head coaches?
Well, you know, I really like Mike Vrabel. I think he's also a culture builder. I just like the guy. So he seems like a guy that could go anywhere and work. However, I don't know how you don't put Bill Belichick at the top of the list. If Jim Harbaugh was the first domino to fall, Bill Belichick has to be the next one. You go, okay, I couldn't get Coke, so I'm going to buy Pepsi or whatever it's going to be. And Bill Belichick has to be at the top for any team to look at. You'd come in and go, hey, this guy knows how to win. He could put together something that could make us win.
Rich, it's funny. You asked that question, and I look at it a little bit differently. I look at the guys who are available. What would be the job that they could actually go in and fix? And I don't know that the Carolina Panthers are fixable because of that trade they made to get up and get Bryce Young. And unfortunately, Bryce Young, I think, has a lot of talent. I think he could end up being a good quarterback. The Panthers have no offensive line. They have no real receiver help. They have no defense, and they have no draft picks. So, like, how are you going to fix that job, at least in the short term? I feel like that's just a dangerous job with a owner who's already proven to fire people in the middle of the season when they really don't have anything around them to lead to a successful coaching job. So, like, Frank Reich, who I think is an excellent head coach, he gets there. He has nothing to work with. He's trying to help Bryce Young the best he can. Frank Reich gets fired. What were you expecting him to do? Like, it's not like there was an offensive line to protect your quarterback. It's not like there's receivers other than Adam Thielen, who's like 40 to throw to, and there's no defense to slow other teams down. Like, Frank Reich was in a no-win proposition, and I think that job is a no-win proposition next year as well, because where's their first-round draft pick, which is the number 1 overall pick? Well, it's in Chicago with the Bears.
Well, you're a 49ers fan, Fletch. You look at Bobby Slowick, who was taken from San Francisco with the D'Amico Ryans. When he took the head coaching job with the Texans, he's the offensive coordinator who's taken C.J. Stroud, a rookie, to these insane heights. I mean, C.J. Stroud, before his injury this season, was in the MVP conversation. He led the Houston Texans, who felt like they were left for dead this offseason, all the way to the postseason, hosting the Browns, got a win. Like, you look at what Bobby Slowick has done in 1 year as an offensive coordinator. Can he be fast-tracked, in your opinion, and become a head coach this upcoming year and save one of these remaining franchises?
Look, that fits the profile, doesn't it? Because it's always the offensive coordinator who does something beyond expectations that seems to get an early shot at a head coaching job in this league. It happened on the defensive side with Brandon Staley. He's part of that Rams defense, the defensive coordinator of the Rams that ends up winning a Super Bowl or going to the Super Bowl. And then he gets poached off by the Chargers. It didn't work that well. And I think when you look at Brandon Staley's tenure as the Chargers head coach, I think a lack of experience is one way to put it, and trying to institute some big ideas that didn't actually translate to the football field, meaning his fourth down balls, for lack of a better term. And so Brandon Staley obviously flamed out. I don't know, but Rich, I think that's the right way to think about this as you're looking at potential head coaches, and with the 4 jobs still open, maybe even more so than bringing in a Bill Belichick. It might be the younger offensive guys who are doing things that were unexpected this year who get the opportunities.
Yeah, you know what? You bring up Brandon Staley, and there was one thing that we talked about several times throughout the season here with Brandon Staley, not just poor play calling, not just poor time management, not just strange play calling, but the lack of good tackling on that team was, I mean, it was astounding throughout the whole season.
Expensive defense, a defensive head coach, and a bad defense. Those 3 things shouldn't have meshed together.
But if I'm looking at bad tackling, and that's fundamental stuff here in football, Jim Harbaugh is a guy who's going to come in and fix that.
Yeah, that is a great point. Jim Harbaugh feels like a great hire for the Chargers. We'll see how it fits. The most important thing, though, and the question that needed to be answered was, how do you turn Justin Herbert into a perennial playoff winner and a champion, because that's what this is all about. It's about winning the final game of the season. And the Chargers haven't been in that conversation in over a decade. Okay, coming up next, we got to get to this. He's America's sweetheart, and it came out of nowhere. But before we do, hey, TD, what's under the hood in the parking lot?
You know, my GMC truck out there in the parking lot is a great. We're talking about great fits. I mean, it's a great fit for me. And look, I joke about it, but I absolutely love my truck. And I don't just love it because it's a great ride. I don't just love it because it's a comfy seat in there, and the heated leather steering wheel makes me feel good on my ride in on these cold early mornings. But no, I mean, look, when I hook a trailer up to it, it pulls it with no problem. I mean, towing around 9,000 pounds without really feeling like you got a trailer behind you is a huge deal. So look, if you are looking for some great savings, it's a new year. So now you can get even better savings at North County Cadillac GMC. They're offering incredible deals to help you get your new year started right. So if you're looking for a truck that can handle everything, you're not going to find a better deal on a truck as powerful and as versatile as the GMC Sierra 1500 than you're going to find at North County Cadillac GMC. I've owned several GMC Sierras. The last one I sold had over 240,000 miles on it. I just took care of it. I changed the oil. And look, I baby my truck, all right? But come on, 240,000 plus miles. When I sold it, the thing was still going strong. And I'm sure the new owner of that truck is still happy with it. And you're going to be too. And I'm telling you, there's a reason why North County Cadillac GMC was voted San Diego's best domestic auto dealer in the San Diego Union Tribune Readers Poll. So stop by and find out why. And when you stop by, tell the GM there, Jamie, that Travis sent you. He's going to take care of you. He's going to make sure you get the best deal possible on your new truck. So stop by North County Cadillac GMC in the heart of the Escondido Auto Mall to test drive the GMC Sierra 1500 today. North County Cadillac GMC, exceeding your expectations every time.
Okay, coming up next, we got to talk about America's new sweetheart. But before we do, we just got passed along the greatest advice anybody has ever given. We'll pass it along to you coming up next. Yeah, Big Rich, TD, and Fletch with you. We got those Bush tickets still coming up, but we got to get to this storyline about America's new sweetheart before we do, however. And there are times where we're passed along inane, ridiculous sentiments on the text line that we cannot bring to air. But this time, one of our texters from the 619, and if you ever want to text the show, by the way, 70470, start your message with team. We love reading the text messages. We try to interact with the text line as much as possible. But this advice that one of our listeners passed along to you, Fletch, is so spot on. So you were complaining about how Kendall's out all week long, your lovely wife, she's going to return home, and you know it. You are forecasting it. She's going to walk through the door with the honey-do list out the window, and then all of a sudden, while the Niners are on the television, you're not going to be able to watch the game. Correct? We got that right?
That's exactly what's going to happen.
All right, so check this out. So this text, this is perfect. Fletch, you are so right. Kendall's going to get back just as the game is about to start. So what you need to do is get out in front of all of it. Clean the house completely, do all the laundry, put it away, do the dishes, take the trash out, go to the grocery store and Target, take the dog for a long walk, throw something in the crock pot for dinner, then kick back with them Blue Mountains and watch the game while you're waiting for the girl to get home. That way, your only stress will be tied up in the game itself. Good luck, buddy, and go Niners. Dude, this gentleman, I'm assuming gentleman, maybe it's a woman listener, this person is so unbelievably correct.
Yep.
If you get out in front of it, she's going to be so impressed. The only time you're going to be disturbed is when she's slapping you high fives or better.
It's true.
So,
it's true.
I mean, get out in front of it, buddy.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You're both married.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if I do all that. There's going to be more.
No, well, hold on. It's going to create a buffer no matter what. Because, no matter what, it's like a smoke screen. She's not going to know what to do. I would also suggest get a little bouquet of flowers. You know what I mean? Now, so she comes in the door, you got flowers. Now, if you want to really one-up it, I don't know what her favorite food is, but you have that ready to go. I don't know, a bag of Chick-fil-A. Oh, it's a Sunday. It's not going to work. A bag of In-N-Out.
I'll be completely honest. Dave's Hot Chicken may have superseded Chick-fil-A in our house.
Wow.
Dude, so there's a Dave's Hot Chicken in Pacific Beach, and can I tell you right now, there have been times where it's like late, and they stay open late on weekends. It's late at night. It's like the witching hour where you're not supposed to be awake ordering hot chicken sandwiches. And dude, I will intentionally stay up an extra half hour just to devour one of those things. It is
really good.
They're pretty damn good.
We also got this text from the 858. Yeah. Fletch is producing the show like Brock Purdy playing without Deebo Samuel. There are a lot of circumstances going on with the show this morning. For example, the computer that literally runs the show hasn't worked since 6.
Well, if the computer is Deebo, I mean,
then I'm doing a pretty damn good job keeping this thing on.
Well, what we should expect is that, while this has been a complete disaster so far, he's really going to come through for us in the 8 o'clock hour.
It'll be like from 8:45 to 9. Right. It's going to be my finest work.
And that'll pull us through. We'll get the win there.
Yeah, we'll get the W. Hey, so have you guys noticed that there isn't a single person on the planet who's aware of this gentleman who doesn't like him? He is universally liked. Jason Kelce has skyrocketed to stardom. Now, the brother of Travis Kelce, he will be a future Hall of Famer regardless of whether he retires this year, he comes back for another season, whatever. He's a 13-year, 8-time Pro Bowler, center for the Philadelphia Eagles, brother to Travis Kelce, who's famously dating Taylor Swift, all those things we know. He has the New Heights podcast with his brother. He was named as one of the finalists to be People Magazine's Sexiest Men Alive and appeared during the Kansas City Chiefs Buffalo Bills game, divisional game, shirtless, shouting, drunk from the booth, and taking shots out of a cannonball or a bowling ball in the parking lot with Bills fans. I mean, he can do no wrong at this point.
How come when we get shirtless and drunk at work, we get admonished? But when Jason
Well-
Kelsey does it, he's celebrated and is now on like every magazine. Like, E! News is talking about it all the time. Like, oh my God, his nipples are perfect. I just don't understand why.
Wait, what? That was a headline?
I saw that. Yeah, I think I did.
He has-
I don't understand
Hold on,
why
Let me look this up.
the three of us with our dad bods can't get shirtless and drunk and screaming,
No. Listen,
but
stop,
Jason
stop,
Kelsey
stop,
can.
stop. TD, I think, and Fletch, I understand your look. Don't be jealous. What this is a great thing for us.
Right.
So we are all, look, I mean, we're trying to get in good shape. We're all making changes to our diet and lifestyle and all those things, but we are all who we are. We're kind of doughy, heading towards or in middle age. Like this guy, this bearded superhero for the average bodied male.
Yeah.
I look at him. I mean, he is the Mother Teresa of our people.
Well-
He is doing God's work for us, Fletch.
What I also loved is that he said, "Oh no, I told my wife, like, look, I'm probably going to be drunk and shirtless," and she said, "Don't you dare." And then he did, and now he is so lovable. I mean, even Taylor Swift apparently loved it.
I mean, it's crazy. Jason, and by the way, Jason Kelsey's wife is pretty hysterical too. She's appeared on their podcast also.
You know they met on Tinder.
I had no idea. Are you kidding me?
That's what the story goes.
Interesting.
Wow.
Kylie Kelsey and Jason met on Tinder.
Huh. Interesting. I was trying to find whatever article you saw of headline of Jason Kelsey has perfect nipples. I'm not seeing it, so I can only think that that's just what you thought, and then you tried to say you read an article somewhere. But I mean, I'm searching Jason Kelsey perfect nipples, which is going to screw up my
so
algorithm.
Who
just
wins
saying.
here? Because now that's what you're searching for. That's on your work history, on your work Wi-Fi account. You're searching Jason Kelsey's perfect nipples.
Look,
Not me.
the thing is, I mean, they're pretty good. I'm not saying they're not. It's all.
This is I'm reading it. So apparently Kelsey had told his wife that he was going to tear his shirt off, and she was like, "Don't you dare." And then I'm reading through the whole thing. Okay, how about this? So she was already telling me to be on my best behavior because we were meeting Taylor, Jason added. She was like, "Don't be on your best behavior." I was like, "Kylie, when I met you, the first day I met you, I was blackout drunk and fell asleep at the bar. This is part of the charm. This is part of the Jason Kelsey charm." Dude, I'm telling you right now, everything this guy says, I want tattooed on my body somewhere.
Hold on.
He's a superhero.
Rich, I feel like this is very similar to a story you had when you met your beautiful wife. And I'm thinking, wait, is this like the offensive line game that you guys got going on?
They're big. They're lovable. They can meet their future wives with their ass hanging out of their shorts. They can meet their future wives blackout drunk, face down on a bar. It doesn't matter. Offensive linemen can do no wrong.
I'll tell you what, there is something charming about a big,
Idiot.
jovial gentleman, who has a great sterling personality. No, I mean, it's true. I mean, did I meet my wife hammered drunk? No, I was stone sober. But was I wearing assless denim chaps? The answer is yes, I was. Anyways, coming up next.
Anyways, see what he did there?
Yeah.
Coming up next, we got to get back into this Jim Harbaugh hiring. If you missed it, the Chargers have scooped up the biggest name in terms of the coaching carousel. Also, we have bottom of the barrel, and we have some stunners. We have some absolute stunners coming up later in the show if we survive it. Pray for us. We're having technical difficulties here on a Thursday. It's Big Rich, TD, and Fletch.
It's hour number 3 on Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. This update presented by Lexus Carlsbad. Experience auto enjoyment. Starting off with the NFL here, Chargers officially hiring Jim Harbaugh to a 5-year deal to be their next head coach. Harbaugh leaving Michigan after winning the national championship. He's going to get his second run as an NFL head coach. College hoops, 3 teams in the top 25 losing last night. So that means the Aztecs, who actually have a bye this weekend, are in pretty good shape to get back into the top 25 come Monday. Over in the NBA, Portland took down the Rockets in overtime 137-131. The Warriors beat the Hawks 134-112, and the Suns beat the Mavs 132-109. Farmers Insurance Open, the first round was yesterday out at Torrey Pines. Kevin Yu out at Taiwan. He's in 8 under with a 64 yesterday. He's in the lead after day one. Patrick Cantlay is in second at 7 under, along with Matsuyama at 6 under. Now through January 31st at Lexus Carlsbad, save on the new Lexus RX, ES, and NX models with Lexus Lease Cash or save with low APR financing on approved credit. Details at LexusCarlsbad.com. Experience auto enjoyment today at Lexus Carlsbad.
Yeah. Welcome in. Happy Thursday to those who celebrate Big Rich, TD, and Fletch with you. And we've been promising them all day long. So coming up very shortly, Bush tickets. They're playing Cal Coast Credit Union Amphitheater. That's coming up in September. Those tickets will be yours. LiveNation.com for more information. But for now, just keep listening. We're going to be giving those away. Also, if you're tuning in on the free iHeartRadio app, we appreciate it. Best way to listen to the show. Also, best way to support the show, share a link with a friend. The podcast is up every single day as soon as this show ends. Ben Fletcher does a great job with that every single day. So definitely listen that way or live on the free iHeartRadio app. Boys, we got major movement in the head coaching search for the Chargers. The search is over. They've signed Jim Harbaugh. The news broke yesterday. So we already talked about our first blush reactions to this. I feel like all three of us were a bit surprised that the Chargers decided to spend the money, but the Chargers are targeting a talented head coach to be paired with Justin Herbert. Now, all of a sudden, the pressure is kind of on Justin Herbert because, yeah, I get it. You can make the excuse. He had 2 head coaches with the Chargers. Neither one of them have worked out for him. But now you have a real one. Now you have one that they're making a significant financial contribution to. Is Justin Herbert good enough to win a championship?
It feels like he is, but you're right, and I hadn't thought of that. I mean, the pressure does now flip to Herbert. The eyes on the head coaching job are now switched away. I mean, in all fairness, you got one of the best here locked up for 5 years, so now it's on the team. If Justin Herbert can't pull through, I mean, where do you go from here? But Justin Herbert is an elite quarterback in my eyes. He's fantastic. However, I do want to see him be more of a leader. And I think that's a good matchup here with Jim Harbaugh to have him be coached in becoming a better leader. So when he's out on the sideline, he is firing people up. He's bringing the team together. He's going out there and saying, hey, look, we got to figure out how to win this thing.
Herbert is awesome. I think we can all agree on that. However, the same conversation we were having about Josh Allen yesterday with the salary cap is the same conversation we will have to have with Justin Herbert, because Justin Herbert has been awesome, surrounded by excellent talent on the offensive side of the football. Justin Herbert's contract will make it so they cannot continue to get excellent talent on the offensive side of the football, at least high-paid talent. They will have to do a little bit better in the draft. So when you look at the Chargers for the next 5 years, which is how long Jim Harbaugh's contract is, it's not like they're going to be able to spend a boatload of money on the offensive line. They're not going to be able to spend a boatload of money on wide receivers and tight ends. What they're going to have to do is get a little more creative with it, and they're going to have to rely more on Justin Herbert. So without being in the King's throne, with being in more of that's not the great example, without being in the Ferrari, with having to be in a lesser car, is Justin Herbert still going to be able to do the same things he did while he was throwing the ball to Keenan Allen if it's going to be lesser receivers around him?
I think Justin Herbert is going to have more success with Jim Harbaugh for this one reason, because I think Jim Harbaugh he's obsessed with fixing a team from the trenches out. Fletch, you're close to this because you're such a huge 49ers fan. But what did John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan rectify immediately with the 49ers especially Lynch when he took over as GM?
The defense.
The defense, but specifically that defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
They went after Nick Bosa in the draft. Obviously, their work still wasn't done this season. They went after Chase Young in trade. They drafted in the first round, didn't work out, but Solomon Thomas early in their tenure together. Like Kyle Shanahan, the head coach, he gave in to the process that John Lynch wanted to have, which was we need to make sure we're solid up front. You look at Trent Williams, what he's done for them on the offensive line. Now, the Chargers are off to a decent head start. They have an aging Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack's coming off of a career year. You have Rashawn Slater on the offensive line, but there's still work to be done up front. And that has been a common place of trouble and sorrow for the Chargers over the years, is a poor offensive line protecting whether it be Phillip Rivers or Justin Herbert. They need a lot more out of that group. If you shore things up front, if you can possess the ball and run the football, that also helps the quarterback. So I think Jim Harbaugh is the perfect hiring for what really ails the Chargers, because he's a trench warfare guy. He wants to get better up front with the bigs.
Rich, I want you to do me a favor real quick, and if you haven't yet, pick up your phone and look at what Travis Dale has sent you. We've been talking a lot about the computer today and the fact that I'm ready to pick it up and huck it out of the studio. Now I'm ready to just use my phone to throw it through the computer. Computers have come too far. If AI is able to do that,
listen.
And if Travis Dale is the sick, twisted mind that goes into the internet, finds this, and then shares it with his friends, so now our phones are... It's not even Wednesday. We're not watching porn with friends today. It's Thursday.
That's right. We do porn with friends on Wednesday. I forgot all about it. Look, Taylor Swift is everywhere. Okay,
yeah.
And including
these are screenshots. It's not like you just sent us a link. You like went. These are on your camera roll forever now. And on mine and Rich's now too. Thank you very much.
Well, I mean, you're welcome. Yeah, look,
I might save these. So hang on a second. So let me describe this in the most PC way I can. You sent us AI generated Taylor Swift photos that I'm assuming Baltimore fans created. I'm assuming.
I mean,
because these are pretty. These are intense.
Yeah, so they're going around X, they're going around TikTok, Facebook, all these different accounts or all these different platforms.
This
and
feels
of
illegal.
course, Taylor Swift very upset by this. And I mean, yeah, look, they're pretty bad. However,
if somebody wanted to make like TD porn, I think it'd be funny as hell.
Yeah, I mean, I would laugh at it. Yeah, absolutely. But I'm not Taylor Swift.
Wait, just for clarity, Fletch said TD porn. Like
it's like
your name is Travis Dale.
Yes.
Not to be like, because when you say TD really quickly,
right. Right.
That could be an issue.
Yeah.
Yes. But of course, the Taylor Swift camp doing everything they can to scrub the internet of these as quickly as possible. That's why I wanted to go on immediately and download them. Look, I can understand why Taylor Swift would be upset at this. I mean, I get it. They're trying to put together a law that you cannot create these AI nude images of anyone.
So now that's on my phone forever. I'm breaking the law.
Well, you're not breaking the law yet.
No,
I mean, that's not passed yet.
Yeah.
I want to know how they would ever be able to find anyone who's making these, because obviously if artificial intelligence can make this, which I mean, I would say that 6 out of 8 of these are very convincing. There's technology that would hide whoever's making it.
Yeah. Well, and also artificial intelligence, I mean, it says it right there in the name. I mean, it's artificially intelligent. So what's to stop AI from making nude photos of everybody if they want to? They could do, it's an artificial intelligence. It can
right.
intelligently design whatever it wants whenever it wants.
And once it starts thinking on its own, thinking freely, and becomes its own entity, of course it's going to want to take down all people in power. So,
why is it that we get this incredible technology, like incredible earth-shattering technology, artificial intelligence, a computer that can think on its own, that can make these images out of nothing and make them look really lifelike. And the first thing we do is turn it into pornography.
Porn.
Well,
Yeah.
we do that with everything.
Yeah.
We do it
Yeah.
with everything. So, here's Apple's VR headset goggles. They're going to change the way you view the world. Porn. We want
Dude,
porn on it instantly.
This has been going on since the dawn of any sort of
Right.
technology. Like, think about ancient Egypt. Like, one of the first things they did is they built obelisks. Do you know what those look like? Giant wieners. And for sure,
Yeah.
the architects out there in ancient Egypt were like, hey, Pharaoh, what do you think? He was like, I think it looks like a wiener. Yeah, it does. But that's what we do.
Yeah, we gain the ability to create a camera. We can take a photograph. What do? Nudes. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, here's the internet. What should we do with it? Oh, we could look up anything. You can have websites and you can go and have pages that have information on people. Yeah, but I mean, can we use it for nudes? And
Right.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, look at this camera now on our phone. Yeah, but I mean, can you get one like facing me? For nudes?
Yeah, I want one where I could like see myself, because there are times where I'm not aiming it correctly to make sure I get a good picture of me nude.
Right.
Yeah.
The
it's
funniest
what
one
we
is
do.
OnlyFans. Like, that was created as a place for artists
Right.
to like put out their art and
Right.
people pay them for it. And the first thing we did with that,
Yeah, which man, I have regrets on conversations with my daughter about that.
Oh no.
I didn't know at the time that's what OnlyFans had become. And I had told her, I was like, yeah, I don't know. I just put your stuff up on OnlyFans. And so she's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, people like spending all kinds of money on OnlyFans. So go start an OnlyFans.
for her hair stuff.
Yes, I thought it was like that. I didn't know at the time it was not that.
No, yeah, it has changed dramatically. In fact, I have serious reservations. Like, people say that all the time. They're like, yeah, OnlyFans started out as this innocent platform. Wait a second. So you created a platform on the internet, which is the Wild West, where the majority of human beings on the planet use for pornography. And you're saying you create a by membership only platform where normal people can post content from their households, and then you have to pay a small fee to see that content. And we didn't think it was going to be used for porn. Sure.
Big Rich
know what?
TD Flesh coming in the fall of
That's right.
2024.
God, I can't wait.
I have this question, though, and this is a serious question, because we now are in this weird age of artificial intelligence, and we see this infiltrating a lot of different things. I mean, it's happening at the professorial level in colleges with plagiarism and things like this. We're seeing it, certain people are fudging their resumes. We see lawyers getting disbarred for the use of AI to create arguments for them. When are we going to see a head coach at the college or the NFL level busted because they're trying to use AI to create a game script to go against some of these other teams? Like, is that coming in the near future? Is one of these guys going to get found out?
Gunnar Scallions.
Gunnar Scallions isn't even a person. We can't
Nope,
even find him. He is
AI.
AI. Wow.
Holy Lord. Yeah, that is coming.
Well, it is the story of the day. We've been talking about it. Taylor Swift had a stalker who was arrested twice. Actually, he was arrested, and then an hour later, after he was let out, he was arrested again for continuing to stalk Taylor Swift. Oh, that's not the top story. I apologize. Jim Harbaugh leaving the Michigan Wolverines to coach the Los Angeles Chargers is the top story of the day. Harbaugh's deal for 5 years. We don't know the total amount of the deal yet. We do know that there was a $1.5 million buyout that the Chargers had to pay the Wolverines to acquire Harbaugh, which seems like a pretty good deal in my personal opinion. New injury report out of the NFL, and good news if you're a Lions fan. 49ers head coach Kyle Shanahan said that Deebo Samuel feels better at the moment, but it's day to day. You don't know if he's going to play. Here's the quote from Shanahan. His shoulder hurts. That's all. Yeah, it just hurts. What's it? And
That's not how he said it.
Are you sure? I'm pretty sure that's how it was said. In the NBA, the Suns' House of the Rising, the Mavs, 132-109.
Oh, dear
Memphis belled the Heat 105-96. Detroit Rock City the Hornets 113-106. The Bucks Milranied all over the Cavs 126-116.
You're 0 for 4.
The what really? How about the Warriors Steven the Hawkins 1?
Oh,
34,
dude, it's not
120.
cool to make fun of him right now.
No, don't even fit. That's a lap.
What? Hold on. The Timberwolves laundered 2,000 pounds of the Wizards 118-107. Washington?
No.
Get the hell out.
What?
Yeah.
To do a lap for that one?
You're lucky it's not 5.
Washington! 2,000 pounds of laundry! Don't do the lap. Golly.
Okay, so our text line is just as perverted as Travis Dale is from the 615. Dang it, I just searched all over Twitter and the posts have been removed. Come on, boys, send me one. I have to see these now.
Yeah, we'll get those up.
No, we will not get those up.
I'm teasing.
913. Fletch, can you post these somewhere for viewers? 619. Oh my God, this is so gross. How could they do that to Taylor? Where are these? I can't believe that.
Dude, yeah, TD immediately jumped all over this. He was one of the first to it. So, unfortunately for the rest of you, we will not be posting these anywhere. And allegedly, we don't even have them ourselves.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Allegedly, we don't even know what you're talking about.
I got them. You can text me directly.
Okay. Hey, really quick, I wanted to ask this question. When you guys think about this upcoming weekend in the NFL, right? You think Detroit Lions, San Francisco 49ers, you think Baltimore Ravens, Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, without questioning it, just give me Super Bowl, who's going to be playing in it?
The Niners and the Ravens.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's my reaction too. Now, but the crazy thing about it is I picked the Kansas City Chiefs in the preseason.
Yeah.
I stuck with the pick all the way through until this point. The first time I'm having any sort of reticence is now that they're in the AFC Championship game where Patrick Mahomes has resided for the entirety of his career. He's made it to AFC Championship games as a starter. It doesn't make any sense. But all of a sudden, I'm feeling like, yeah, I mean, it was a great run, but the Chiefs, they're kind of overperforming who they were this entire regular season. How did they get past Baltimore?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. I mean, I can make cases for it. You know, if they can get out to an early lead, Baltimore struggles trying to catch up. But it just seems like when you're looking at firepower and just the momentum of the team, the Baltimore Ravens have that. And they're playing at home. It's the first time Patrick Mahomes played it away, AFC Championship. And the trend, I believe, is Mahomes AFC Championship loss, then to the Super Bowl, then the loss, then the Super Bowl. So, I mean, technically, this one is slated for a loss.
Technically, yeah, I was just thinking about that. He hasn't been to back-to-back Super Bowls yet, even though he's been in the AFC Championship every year since he's been a starter. I still got the Chiefs. It's going to be Chiefs-Niners in the Super Bowl, and I don't bring the logo crap at me all you want. I just don't. It's not important, first of all. And second of all, Patrick Mahomes versus Lamar Jackson. I'm taking Patrick Mahomes, and don't you dare try to use that logic, Jared Goff versus Brock Purdy, because there's so much more than that.
All right, so here we go. Coming up tomorrow, we'll officially put our picks in for who we think is going to emerge from the championship round. I'm still torn. I want to say the Ravens today. But
Rich, it would be so much better if it was the Chiefs because it's in your preseason pick going against my preseason pick.
It's true. I could
Who
be
was Travis's
either way
preseason pick?
I'm pretty sure.
It's the Bengals. Wait, hold on. Wait, hold on. I picked 5th, okay? I picked 5th, and I'm not a Baltimore fan because I think they were available.
Yeah. That's okay. Yeah, that's true. Nobody picked Baltimore, by the way.
No, they were left off. They were left
off the list. Yeah. There was an Eagles. There was a Cowboys. Nobody picked Baltimore. All right. Hey, coming up in a little bit. This is very cool, but maybe it shouldn't be allowed, like at all. We'll get to that story in just a minute. But first, I want to talk to everybody about Ocean View Dental. If you've been thinking about changing your dentist, well, then now's the time, because I'm here to tell you Dr. Jordan Colby of Ocean View Dental is the best dentist my family's ever had. Now, I was first introduced to him by a coworker. I got a referral because I needed some major dental work done. I needed a tooth extraction. I needed 3 implants to be put in, and I was super nervous about this. I was told it was going to be a 1.5-year process. I didn't know where to start. I didn't know when to start. And I knew the starting point was going to be me going to a bunch of different other offices, getting my imaging done, talking to oral surgeons, and all the things that go into it. And it just seemed overwhelming, to be perfectly honest. Well, at Ocean View Dental, Dr. Jordan Colby, he sat me down and he showed me everything that the procedure would entail, digital pictures, and I felt 100% confident and comfortable choosing him as the oral surgeon and dentist to lead me through this process. And guess what? It only took 3 months. I was told it would take 18 months by my prior dentist. It only took 3 months. And I'm here to tell you now, I'm 6 months out from the operation. I feel amazing. I can chew my food. I'm confident, just like we discussed. And it's been perfect for me. Now, Dr. Jordan Colby serves my whole family. You can too. OceanViewDental.net. He's built a world-class, family-oriented dental practice at Ocean View Dental. He has another one in Fallbrook. They provide amazing care. It's like you're their extended family. You walk into the office, everybody knows your name. They know exactly what you're there for. And Dr. Jordan Colby has the best bedside of any dentist I've ever been around. And plus, you get a beautiful view of the Pacific Ocean while you're in the dentist chair. So again, OceanViewDental.net. That's OceanViewDental.net. All right, coming up next, we're going to continue with the Jim Harbaugh hiring with the play-by-play voice of the Chargers, Matt Money Smith, on the other side.
This update is presented by Allstate. We'll begin here with the NFL. Chargers officially hiring Jim Harbaugh to be their next head coach on a 5-year deal. Harbaugh leaving Michigan after winning the national championship. He's going to get his second run as an NFL head coach. College hoops. Aztecs, their next opponent, Colorado State, which will be next Tuesday, was ranked 24th in the country going into their matchup at Nevada last night. They fall to the Wolfpack last night, 77-64. 3 top 25 teams losing yesterday in college hoops. Over in the NBA, Portland beat the Rockets in overtime 137-131. Warriors took down the Hawks 134-112, and the Suns beat the Mavericks 132-109. Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you. With Allstate, not one based on anyone else. If you drive safely, you could save money. Good to know. Visit allstate.com or call for a quote today.
Big Rich, GD, and Fletch, San Diego Sports 760, and coming up here in mere moments, Busch tickets. We got a pair of Busch tickets to see Busch at the Cowcoast Credit Union Amphitheater Friday, September 13th. If you want tickets and info, you can go to livenation.com or just keep listening this segment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that's coming up very shortly. We'll have those tickets again available tomorrow morning. Tomorrow, Friday, is a Bar Cart Friday brought to you by Keg and Bottle, 10 locations around San Diego. Super pumped to have Tony Kanja come in studio with another brewer, winemaker, liquor distiller. I mean, we've had it all in studio, so that's going to be a ton of fun in the 8 o'clock hour. This is going to be a fun conversation, though, because Matt Money Smith, the host of Petros and Money, AM 570 LA Sports, also the play-by-play voice of your Los Angeles Chargers, he's going to have a lot to discuss here coming up on his show later on today, I'm sure, because Jim Harbaugh just signed as the new head coach for the Chargers. You got head coach, you got a franchise quarterback, you got a lot in the NFL. So, Money, what do you think of the hiring? I mean, it's been nothing but positives. Do you see any negatives whatsoever with the Chargers making what really is one of the biggest moves that they've had in a long time? Oh, okay, sorry. Hey, Matt, good morning.
Hey,
there we go.
What's happening?
Yeah, there we go.
That
Yeah,
was
we're
a hell
having
of a
some
setup.
technical.
I think
We're having technical difficulties on this end all morning long with the radio show, but you're not. We were texting last night. Are you out of the ocean yet? Or are you calling us from the surfboard?
You know what? Tide was too high this morning, so I'm actually going to go out in about an hour and a half or so when it drops a little bit. So yes, you've got me maybe a little bit dragging because the cold water will wake you up, and I did not get that jolted energy. So I'm hoping to go get it in about an hour. But hey, this will wake me up, right? Talking about Jim Harbaugh as the head coach of the Chargers.
Yeah, no question about it. It's definitely where the conversation needs to start. You have Harbaugh, you got Herbert. You got a head coach, you got a quarterback. It feels like you got everything you need to go win a championship. Do you see any negatives whatsoever? Because it feels very positive right now.
No, I don't. And I know that look, I know this is not going to be popular in your part of town, but I think you have ownership. As crazy as I know that may sound to San Diegans, that since they have moved to Los Angeles, the Spanos family has been spending some serious cash, from the amount of money it cost them to move here to this $250 million brand new state-of-the-art 3 football field facility that's right next to SoFi and right next to LAX, to help with the players and the commutes. And we know the struggle that can be in Los Angeles, having been on those charters and those buses going up the 405 to LAX. That's all gone now, to spending money on players. Herbert was the highest paid player in the league for a minute there. Same with Bosa at the position, Derwin at the position, J.C. Jackson in free agency. And now I think this is just kind of the final cherry on top of that Sunday that Jim Harbaugh's probably, if not, he's close to it, the highest paid coach in the league. They got him locked up for 5 years. He's a proven winner. And I just feel like this was sort of that last step that they needed to take to really sort of flex. We're a championship franchise. We intend to win Super Bowls. We know what it takes to be relevant in Los Angeles, in Southern California, and we're willing to make that commitment.
Matt, Chargers also interviewed Belichick. You like this hire better than Belichick?
I do. I do. Look, I would not have been disappointed with Bill at all, with Coach Belichick at all. But to me, this is just a better fit. I think the fact that he was a quarterback, that the style of offense that Jim Harbaugh has run, every stop he's made, from Stanford, starting in San Diego, I can't pretend like I watched a bunch of Torero football, but from Stanford to San Francisco to Michigan. It's old school. It's physical. It's punishing. It's build along the lines. Drag the opponent into the deep water in the fourth quarter, pull them under. And I think that's going to benefit Justin Herbert incredibly. If he brings Jesse Minter with him, that style of defense, you're going to see it on Sunday against Kansas City with Baltimore. It's just such an impressive and hard to figure out style of defense where everything is coming from everywhere. And if those two come, man, I'm excited about what this thing's going to look like.
We're chatting with Matt Money Smith, host of Petros and Money, AM 570 LA Sports, also the voice of the Chargers. Jim Harbaugh just hired by the Chargers. And like you said, Matt, huge contract, arguably going to be the most expensive contract paid to a head coach in 2024. I look at the Chargers and I see a lot of boxes checked. The one thing that's uncertain is how the NCAA and the NFL are going to handle sanctions or punishments that may come Harbaugh's way. I know based off of the past, Jim Tressel had some lingering issues that I think he had to, pay out, if that's the right word, at the NFL level. Do you think that's going to interfere at all with the start that he's going to have in LA?
It's interesting. I don't know. I don't know. I think that, look, the NCAA is a toothless organization. We know that. The NFL is not. We know that. So I don't know, what the level of sanctions would be against Michigan. It seemed like it was kind of split, on the Big Ten level. You had a handful of coaches and ADs puffing their chest out. The other half kind of saying, hey, let's not throw stones living in glass houses here. So I don't know how the NCAA is going to interpret all of that. I would be very surprised, knowing what this market means to the NFL, knowing they've got Justin Herbert, here in his prime at 26. And now, you've got Jim Harbaugh, one of the biggest coaching superstars in, either the NCAA or the NFL. And I just cannot imagine them wanting to cast any sort of shadow over that unless they were absolutely forced to. And based on kind of, I think, what we know about all of this, I just don't get the sense that that's going to be the case.
Hey, man, I know my feeling on this, and I feel like it is. The answer is yes on my question here. But is this instant juice to the Chargers, and are they a player next year? Are things fixed?
Well, using history as our guide, I'd say yes. He inherited a 6-10 San Francisco team that was 13-3 and in the NFC Championship. I think I was fortunate. I say that meaning it literally, fortunate to have been calling national games in college football when I was assigned a ton of Stanford games. It just changed the way I looked at football. Not that I'm some sort of, brilliant football mind. I'm not. I'm an idiot. I know almost nothing about what I'm looking at. But there was something about watching that program grow and watching the arrival of Andrew Luck and the emergence of Toby Gerhart and the installation of intellectual brutality. It was fun to watch that topple USC. And I got a front row seat for it. I called that What's Your Deal game. I called their games on the farm against Oregon. Like, there was something about the way they played. And we saw that in San Francisco and what he did with that defense, and he and Vic Fangio did immediately with those pieces in Justin Smith and Alden Smith and Ahmad Brooks and Navarro Bowman. And I know they need more. That's the one thing in terms of like how quick can the turnaround be. I think it depends on how they approach it this offseason. Is it just a rip the Band-Aid off and $54 million over the cap becomes see you later to a lot of these vets and, $70 million under the cap the following year? Or do they try to, does Coach Harbaugh say, no, I want to keep Joey Bosa. We'll figure out how to keep him healthy. I need to keep Keenan Allen. Let's restructure that contract. I think that's what it ultimately comes down to.
Yeah, Matt, I completely agree with a lot of what you just said. I like the way Jim Harbaugh has built teams, oftentimes personnel-wise, from the trenches out, heavy focus on the things that helps a quarterback, like defense, getting the ball back for the offense, like protecting your quarterback, like the run game, like we saw on a national championship run. And we're talking to Matt Money Smith, voice of the Chargers this morning. You look around this division, though, just the division. Sean Payton, Andy Reid, Antonio Pierce. He's going to get his shot now as a head coach after filling in admirably as an interim. Where does Harbaugh rank even in his own division now?
Well, we brought this up on the podcast last night, for Chargers Weekly. And I said, I like to look at it as quarterback head coach combo. And you just think of the success that Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid have had together. Tom Brady and Bill Belichick together. Now if they can win one and he wins his second MVP, we'll be talking about Lamar Jackson and John Harbaugh together. So I look at that as a pairing, right? And obviously there is no pairing that's been more dominant in the NFL than Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. And that's going to go down as a Bill Belichick, Tom Brady level relationship. So when I look at it that way, you very well could end up having this as in that conversation, knowing the talent level that Justin Herbert possesses, the winning that Jim Harbaugh has experienced at every stop he's made. I think this is going to be Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, can't argue with that, but Harbaugh and Herbert are right behind him. So the Broncos are going to need a quarterback. The Raiders need a quarterback. So I just kind of put that pairing. It'd be stupid to put them ahead of Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes right now, but I think that's kind of what we're going to be looking at, Rich, that's sort of I think that's the way we're going to view this, right? Is this, This is going to be another one of those great superstar head coach, superstar quarterback duos.
Yep. Everybody's chasing the Chiefs, but all of a sudden the Chargers, they have exactly what the Chiefs have. That's what it really feels like. And it's a big deal that they spent this money because it's been honestly over a decade, maybe over a decade and a half since the Chargers have gone in like this. Hey, Matt, we appreciate the time this morning. Get out there and chase those tasty waves.
Exactly right. You.
Yeah. All right, buddy. We'll catch up with you some other time. We appreciate it. There he goes. Matt Money Smith, surfer, radio show host, play-by-play voice. He's on the NFL Network. That guy literally does everything. We're going to have a quick Farmers Insurance Open update for you on the other side. Bottom of the barrel yet to come. But first, I want to talk to everybody about my ever-shrinking waistline, which is something, a sentence that I never thought I'd be able to put together.
It is ever shrinking. It's incredible.
I mean, Travis the other day, we gave each other a hug as we do for 5 minutes to start every single morning. And he was like, I mean, where are you, buddy?
Well,
I mean, you're getting lost in my bountiful arms.
I'm able to clasp my fingers now right around your waist when I hold you close. It's very nice. Thank you, Wayne and Chloe.
Thank you, Wayne and Chloe, our weight loss team over at sdfatloss.com. No, seriously, though, if you are at all in search of an answer to the question, how the hell do I lose these unwanted pounds? I'm telling you, sdfatloss.com has been a godsend for us. We were struggling. We were chubby, husky, fatzos, I would argue.
If you're just getting down to the nitty gritty, I think you're right. I think you're right.
I think we went beyond like the some people would say we went from big boned to fatso, like that gradient scale, like we kind of just blew right by. Anyways, look, the point is we had some issues we needed to address, and we did, and scfatloss.com was the help we needed. It really is judgment-free help. Wayne and Chloe have been through this a million times with thousands of clients, and what they do is they work a process. Like you show up for your consultation, or you have a Zoom call, or you have just a phone call. You meet Wayne and Chloe. They discuss to you the plan. You can follow along on an app. You could do it messaging them. You could do it whichever way. You could just follow the paper plan. Whatever it is that's comfortable for you, they make it work for you. And as you go along, This process is super easy to remember. There's no like tricky dieting involved where you're like, what is it that I can do, I can't do? There's no like meal replacements, there's no shakes. And also, you're not going to be on one of these weird prescription drug yo-yo diets where you lose a bunch of weight because you're suppressing your appetite and then you gain it all back. It's nothing like that. It's unique, it's different, it's perfect, it's a lifestyle change, and it's worked for the three of us. This show has lost over 120 pounds cumulatively. It's absolutely insane the work that Wayne and Chloe have been able to do for us. So we suggest it for everybody who listens to us. SDFatLoss.com, SDFatLoss.com.
Let's
Insurance
look at
Open.
the bottom of the barrel and get a quick update on the Farmers Insurance Open next.
Fun way to wrap up a Thursday here. Do a little bottom of the barrel plus a quick Farmers Insurance Open update. But first, we got to give you a time to call for those Busch tickets. So I'm going to put this one on Fletch because he's been dealing with a lot today. Fletch, what time should people call for Busch tickets?
After 9.
Okay, yeah. I think
At
that's
9:01. Wow.
9:01.
Incredible.
Yeah, the
Call.
text line just said 858. There's another pick by Purdy when you guys talked over yourselves in the tees. That was also my fault because I pointed at Travis. I turned Rich on. I don't even know what's happening. Dealing with an engineer in studio. I'm talking to some dude in Houston who has to communicate with some dude in San Diego because that makes sense.
I didn't have my headphones on, so I clicked the mic and I hear Rich out of the headphones, and I'm like, I will just keep talking. I think he pointed at me next. So it worked out well.
God, I
Life
can't wait
is
for a
good.
bar car Friday. I wish Tony Condon was here right now with a stiff whiskey for me.
Right?
Well,
You
I
hear
mean,
that,
this
Tony?
would be only more difficult to do drunk. I would say that.
I think that'd
much.
be better.
Maybe. Yeah, so round 1, day 1, we got some updates out of the Farmers Insurance Open. Kevin Yu is leading. So as of Wednesday, and remember, they move it up a day because they don't want to compete with Championship Sunday in the NFL, but the Taiwanese golfer shot bogey free with 8 birdies and a score of 64, teeing off on the back 9. He went back-to-back birdies followed by a par on the 12th, so he was out the gates hot. So he's 8 under to lead this tournament.
But
I don't know.
today he gets the South Course.
Okay, well,
So
that's a
as the
toughie.
three of us know, the North Course easy. That's where it
Yeah,
goes.
I think I parred
Yeah,
the
the three of us
13.
dominated it. No, so that's another cool part about the Farmers Insurance Open is for the first 2 days, everybody plays one of the courses. So on day 1, you might play the North Course. On day 2, you might play the South Course. Traditionally speaking, the South Course is much tougher than the North Course is. Both of them are difficult, but the North Course is leading to lower scores. So you'll see after the first 2 days when everybody's on a level playing field where everyone's actually at, and that leads to like a lot of flip-flopping between the 2 days. And then the last 2 days of the tournament, everybody who makes the cut only plays the South Course. It was a lot of fun watching yesterday. That rough looks brutal, as bad, if not worse, than it was a year ago when the three of us got to play it. So good luck today, boys. Xander Schauffele, by the way, is at 3 under. He played the South Course yesterday.
Yeah, there's a couple names close to the top of the pack. Patrick Cantlay, he's tied for second at 7 under with Hideki Matsuyama. He's at -6 up on the board, tied for 4th place. If you scroll further down, you get into Xander Schauffele. Before him, I believe, or maybe tied with him, is Tony Finau. So there are some names out there, though it's a little bit more of a thin crowd because Live Golf has stolen a lot of the names that you follow in golf. So that's a developing story we'll keep an eye on throughout the golf season. But before we check out here and give away some Busch tickets at 9:01, don't you dare call before then.
That's right.
9:01
That's right.
at 877-767-4760, or for those playing at home, 877-SORG 760. Spell Sorg with an S. What's in the bottom of the barrel, though, TD? Do we got anything fun?
Well, let's see. Where do you want to go here? We got Mike Tyson, who's in talks to do an MMA boxing match here. He's gonna fight an MMA fighter. Now, you think that this shouldn't be allowed?
Yeah, I mean, he's 57.
He's Mike freaking Tyson.
I know, but I mean, I don't like the one thing I really don't want to see on the 2024 bingo card is, Mike Tyson died in the ring in Abu Dhabi.
He's not going to die. He's supposed to face Russian MMA icon Fedor Emelianenko.
Fedor. Fedor fought in
there you
Pride, go. And then I don't know if he ever, maybe it was, I don't think he ever fought in UFC, or maybe later in his career in the early days of the UFC. But Fedor was a monster during his career. So at least he's fighting someone his own age. That's
Right.
good.
We thank Matt Money Smith for jumping on the show today. We thank our engineering crack team staff of engineers. We also thank Travis Dale, Rich Ornberger. Thank all the texters, the roadies, the dogs, the hangers, the bangers. The podcast will be up. And as the texter from the 408 says, could we title today's podcast as the worst show we ever did?
Wow.
I love you guys.
Wow.
But damn.
Ouch. God, I was thinking if we've done 2 top 5 shows. What was this, number 6, maybe?
I would say, we're just outside of the top 5, top 10 show for sure.
Today
The
was hell.
Herd is next. Thank you, Fletch.
It's not working again.
Never mind. We're going to preempt the herd and stick around. Hey, TD, what else?
There it is.
Oh, okay, there we go.